Okay. What's going on, family? What's going on? We are live. So just give me a second. And this is definitely our late night edition. It's after midnight, so this is the after midnight edition. I don't plan on being here very long. I do want to get some rest, but I definitely wanted to go live. I had a pretty long day, good Shabbat, but pretty long day afterwards, or evening afterwards, I should say. And then transition into trying to get some things done tomorrow. But nonetheless, I didn't go live on Friday. And I said in the comment that I made or post that I made in the community section that I would do something tonight. And I was determined to get something done, regardless of what time it was. So even if it was 2 and 3 in the morning, I would still be going live right now. All right, so forgive me for a little bit. I'm a bit tired, but I'm going to push through it. I'll get this content out for y'all. Didn't even really, hold on. Let me see what's going on with my... Hold on, family. I got to switch something on my network real quick. Let's switch over to the... All right. Hit 1. Hit 1 if the audio and video quality is good. Hit 1. Hit 2 if it's not. Let me check my phone real quick. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see. Check the network. Okay, everything looks pretty good from my end. Please confirm. Let's make sure that's just me on my network. Everything Gucci. Okay, looks like everything's Gucci. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get it popping. All right. Didn't even get to really touch my beard much before I went live. So it's a little rugged and raw, just like the wilderness. But it's all good. So if everything is good on the audio and visual end, we're going to get started. I appreciate y'all for coming out on this evening. I know it's pretty late, but a lot of y'all are night hours like me, so it's all good. And if you're watching this on a replay, even better. There's a couple of things to point out. And then I want to go over some information for y'all. What I do want to share with y'all is that I will be adding some more diverse content on the channel. So aside from some of the previous uploads that I've done, I'm also going to put out additional content or other things that surround community, things going on in the news recently, anything that's intertwined in the culture, community, or autonomy arena. I'll start teaching on that, share more information in regards to health, point you all towards our Natural Path to Eden platform, debt relief, point you towards our Jubilee Mary Mission platform, education, point you towards our KHM virtual homeschooling service, and other things as well, right? I'm also planning and been working on 3 concurrent lectures. It's crazy because I start on one and then I get sidetracked and start on another one. But I'm gonna do one on prophecy. I got the one working on the loan words in Hebrew or in the Tanakh, and its frequency and how that frequency aligns with the period of time in which Israel was in Egypt and in exiting out of Egypt. And there's a couple other ones that I want to touch on, but with the prophecy one thing is very important because I'm going to show people that if you don't understand the culture, you're not going to understand prophecy. And then I'm going to show people that they don't really understand what prophecy is, right? Because if they did, they would not be prophesying amiss like we've had in a lot of Christian churches, right? And a lot of other circles too, doomsday cults and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? People have not really fully unlocked it because there's a lot of things that they are doing that's misaligned and ahistorical. So my objective is to kind of orient you back to understanding what that topic is and how it's semantic range, that term, what we call prophetic or prophecy, spans the width, length, and breadth of many cultures in the ancient East. but it's all centralized in cognates, in Semitic cognates, as well as perspective, right, will change depending on what culture we're talking about, right? But nonetheless, it was pretty much understood amongst all cultures that almost every culture in the ancient Near East had a what we call a nabi, a prophet, or one that divines or seeks the will of the gods or God in order to express it to mankind for whatever reason, intent, and purposes that was. Its significance, what the obligation of the recipient audience is, what the obligation of the speaker is, how that relates overall to cleromancy, which is sortition of lots, how that relates to things such as necromancy, right? How does that relate to things such as ancestor worship, right? How does that deal with things such as the worship of these deities and how they derive power from worship, right? All of these things are important. And there's also sub facets to these things well, that need to be parsed out and looked at. And what I want to do is give you a thorough understanding of what that subject matter is. So when you approach somebody who just loosely throws this out there, you can just jump in a conversation and contribute. But if they challenge you, you'll have a good foundation in how to disseminate what that subject matter is and how it should be looked at, right? So again, reconstructing what it was in the period of time that we're reading about, removing all of our presuppositions and focusing on just their worldview and how they saw things. And then once we're able to create that profile, then we create a modern profile of what's going on today and do a one-to-one mapping. And if we're able to do that, then you have a good case to say, this is why this was said then, and this is why this particular prophecy is still applicable today, et cetera, right? Because there's a lot of doctrines out there. There's some preterist doctrines that says all the prophecies have already been fulfilled and we're in the age of Christ right now, which is fugazi, but it is what it is. There's some people that say that all the prophecies of the Old Testament, quote unquote, or the Tanakh or Hebrew Bible have already been fulfilled. So therefore, nothing else needs to be fulfilled. So they go back even further than the New Testament. They stop at Malachi, right? Or Malachi. They stop right there and said everything's been fulfilled, right? That also is crazy. And there's some people that believe that everything is still to be fulfilled, right? The things that was mentioned before is just a type and a shadow, but what's to be fulfilled is still to come, right? People say that type of stuff, and there's people that say we're in a 400 years prophecy, from 1619 to 2019, and then people say after 2019, things started changing, things started happening. But it's crazy because slavery been going on in this part of the hemisphere for at least 150 years before 1619, since the late 1400s. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you factor in those events that was occurring in the late 1400s all the way up until 1619? 1619 just starts in what we call the English colonies. But slavery has been going on amongst the Dutch, amongst the Portuguese, amongst the French, amongst the Spanish, right? So you gotta consider that's important. But again, when you misalign things and you have an ahistorical perspective on what occurred in the past, then it makes it very difficult if you understand what's happening today, and especially if you lack the culture, right, which is the history, the customs, the mannerisms, the language, all of those elements. If you are divorced from that, if you are an outsider to that facet of data that is necessary to use in your computation of how to dissect, interpret, and disseminate these prophecies, then you're going to lead people astray, right? Prophecy is a science. It's a science, just like prayer is a science. These are things that are repeatable, right? But they are based on certain conditions, preconditions that must be met in order for something to actually occur. And if you don't meet those prerequisites, then the results that you're expecting is going to be asinine, because you're thinking that this is going to happen, but you don't realize, well, why sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, because it's prerequisites you're not meeting. So you can expect X result, right, if Y conditions is not met. That's not going to work. What will happen is you'll have X result as a variable and Y as incomplete prerequisites that have not been met. And then you're wondering why you can't get this thing to work. Or if it does work, it works haphazardly and you cannot really even determine if it's going to happen or not. And then you say things like God works in mysterious ways and all this other stuff. That's not how it works. Obviously, people knew the formula and they utilized the formula and they had results. I mean, there's the same way that we can utilize the formula today. The difference is most of us is not in the land. So what does that mean? Even if we was in the land is defiled. That means that there are limitations to certain potentiality of outcome that can occur because we are not in the prime condition for said things to be repeated in the format, in the exact format. Let me say that, in the precise or exact format that we see in what we call the scriptures. And that is important to understand that. So if you're expecting those same outcomes, that's not going to work. If you're expecting similar outcomes or outcomes that can occur based on today's circumstances that can be extracted from how it's being discussed in the text, then you have something bright to look forward to. And this is very, very important. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to put that out there because these upcoming lectures are going to be really, really good. Again, if you're logged in and set up for Patreon, you'll be able to view the lectures for free at no additional cost at $20 tier. If you're not, you can still watch the lectures. We'll have it on a pay-per-view format that you can view them. And then eventually we'll release them to YouTube, right? So if you don't want to pay for it, you don't have to. You just got to wait maybe 2 weeks or so to watch it when we release it on YouTube. But if you want to see it while it's happening, which I would recommend, because I mean, as soon as you get the information, it's an immediate tangible, right? That can be action on, right? But if you want to wait, that's totally up to you, right? So I want to make sure it's available to everybody so there's no excuse, right? And then also the classes, the KHM, Holistic Research Paradigm for Bible study classes coming up. This is why I'm doing this show, because I want to give you some insight into that. Those classes, again, if you're on a Patreon at a $20 tier, you get access to it at no additional cost. However, we still have it available a la carte and or a discount if you're the $10 tier for Patreon. So that way you can get access to the classes. We have it for an excellent price. Trust me, a lot of hard work and effort has been put into these classes, and I guarantee you, if you commit to these classes from the beginning to the end, and I'm gonna show you some of it, right? Just a little bit. But this is why you get on Patreon, because I'm gonna get into it later, why Patreon will be helpful to give you a leg up in regards to these classes. But you're getting collegiate level information, tutelage, mentorship. I mean, however you want to phrase it, you're getting an academic, collegiate level degree of knowledge that otherwise will cost you thousands of dollars to get. And I'm giving it to you like at a low cost. We're talking about like under $50. You're getting this a month. Like, this is phenomenal for people who themselves would like to go to college to learn this stuff, but can't afford the tuition. And it's crazy because some people will still say in our community, oh, that should be free. They'll still say that. That should be free. Why are you doing class? Why we got to pay for the classes? The gospel is free. Yes, the gospel is free. So why don't you pick up a Bible and read the gospel? And you ain't got to. Why are you here? Why are you wasting your time and my time? Why are you here? Just pick up the Bible and you go read it yourself. If that's the case. But if somebody's putting their time, energy, effort, blood, sweat, and tears to go through all this information, I mean, tons of information to parse it out and create the best technique and methodology for people to learn in an environment that's troll-free, because when people pay money, the degree of trolling is going to be this slim because you're putting money in. So your trolling efforts is going to be, it's designed to keep you trolls out, keep y'all at bay, so y'all don't interfere when the real class is going on, like you're doing this channel. See, this channel is free. It's on in these YouTube streets, so anybody can walk up in here and say and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? But in those classes, it's going to be filtered out. You're not going to have that nonsense. We're going to have people that really are eruditious and astute, and they're serious about learning, and that they really want to get these techniques so that way they can apply it with any passage of scripture, and then they can pass these techniques along to any and everybody else. And if they decide they eventually want to be a teacher and teach the same thing and do anything, that's fine, right? That's fine. But it's designed to be a troll-free environment for people who are investing in their studies. Everybody's not willing to invest in their studies, right? Some people are, some people aren't. And hey, if you can't do it for whatever reason, we'll continue to release little tidbits here and there until you get all the pieces, right? Or you can go back and check out some content on the channel and you can get privy of it. Okay. So I just want to put that out because that's important. Also, The third lecture that I was saying, major lecture I'm going to do, is the one going into identity and why we identify as Israel, and what are the circumstantials and direct evidence of that, given the current climate of things that's going on. This information that I put out for years, I even put information on the Patreon. I have more data to put out, so I'm going to try to put everything together in one lecture and go over piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. We're going to remove any pseudo shit from any of that, and we're just going to put it out the way it is, and then let you come to your own conclusions. I'm not going to tell you what to conclude. I'm not going to tell you my position is absolute or 1,000% definitive. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to show you the case, a solid case that can be made for. Now, again, you can go to court and make a great case. That don't mean you're going to win the case. Just because you made a great case don't mean you're going to win the court case, right? Because the judge may be where they at, the jury may be where they're at. This happens all the time to people who are innocent and they go to jail for things that they didn't commit. Regardless of their case, for whatever reason, the judge or the jury decided otherwise, and that's the way it is. So that's what I'm doing with this information. I'm going to put it out there and say, look, this is the case that we have to substantiate the claim that we make. And it's up to you to accept it or reject it. It's up to you to peer review it or say, you know what, this is solid. It's totally up to y'all. When I say y'all, I don't just talking about those in our immediate community, because a lot of us are biased. I'm talking about those outside of our community that continue to request more and more information, more and more data, how much we give them to prove that we're Israel. So we're going to do that. And again, this in this community is twofold. You got to understand your identity, and then that has to be in alignment with your culture. Okay? Give me 1 second. And these two things are intertwined, intermingled, and cannot be separated or removed, because you have one pillar, and that pillar is culture. The scripture is the foundational culture, and that gives you your spirituality. And the more you understand that, the more potent you will be in your walk. And then your identity. How are you linked to this culture? Why should you even invest in this culture? Why? Why is it important? Why is this text, these scriptures, why is this stuff important? What is going on with that? Hold on. Is there something with the is the video and audio okay? Y'all saying it's lagging? What's lagging, the audio or the video? Let me take a look. Hold on. Let me stop 1 second because I want to make sure that there's no issues. So, can you still hear? Is everything in alignment? Misaligned? What's going on? Is it delaying? Let me see. Hold on. Okay. Hopefully everything is in sync. Let me know if everything's in sync now. I just refreshed everything. Let me know if everything's in sync now. Everything good? Hit 1 if everything is good. Everything good? Let me know. Let me know. Yes. Are we still looking like a live action karate flick, or is this modern day YouTube video content? Which one we working with right now? The karate flick. Good. Are we in sync? He said Justin Timberlake in sync. I hear that. So I'm saying is, so both of those pillars are important. And we got to make sure we're able to defend our position on both points, because anybody who argues against our community is going to argue us based on our interpretation and application of scripture, and also the identity element that we derive from the people of the book. So those are the two pillars that must be established, be firm, and we should be able to cognitively, right, be able to say, okay, I know why. This is what I subscribe to. This is how I know. And this is what I'm going to give to you, disseminate to you. All right. Okay. So we're good. We're back. All right. Cool. Wax on, wax off. I hear that. All right. So let me give a couple of shout outs before I get started. Let's see who was up in here with us real quick. Let me see. So shout out to Jaslyn Berry, Shalom. Mikhail Hall, Shalom. 916 Shan, Shalom. Bergen Paris, Shalom. Javon McLean, Shalom. Tavares Brock, Shalom. Andre Waver, Shalom. Truth More Truth, Shalom. King Taharka, Shalom. Aiden Elisha, Shalom. Kaya Houston, Shalom. Javon McLean, I said that already, Shalom, but double honors, that's what they say. Serdla Wad, Shalom. Seth, Shalom. Karen Gittin, Shalom. Kefa Dawood, Yafa, Yahuwah, Shalom. Get Wise, Shalom. Junior, Shalom. Gavin Miller, Shalom. Sister V Love, Shalom. Theo 9, Shalom. Apothecary Custom, Shalom. Roy the Chef, Shalom. Oh, I didn't get to respond back. I did see your message, I think late last night. So I'll get back to you on that, right? I'll get back to you. That sounds like it could be possible, but I can't tell you definitively yet. But I'll respond back tomorrow, okay? Shout out for His Glory 2419, Shalom. So for His Glory, text me 678-430-3832. The numbers across the screen. Just shoot me a text, all right? Shout out to Junior, Linda Rick, Shalom. Black Ash, Shalom. Jetson Silencio, Shalom. Solomon Ben David, Shalom. Sean McGee, Shalom. Kodak in Vegas, Shalom. Hip Hop History, Shalom. Junea Klinya, Shalom. Keisha Marshall, Shalom. Leonard De Yuda, Shalom. Let's see. Kidron, Shalom. Let's see. Sister Santawa, Shalom. What's going on? Just Want the Truth, Shalom. All right. Let's get into the show. I see some of you have questions. Just hold off for now. Let me get into the show. I'm gonna get into some stuff, some other stuff, and some more stuff. But let me get into that first. Please rock with us if you can. Give us at least an hour and a half, and then we should be free to open up for questions. Let me just get through these beginning parts. All right. The first thing is go over a couple of things. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody that subscribed to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I cannot thank you for subscribing. I can thank you for watching. All right. Whether this is your first time, for a lot of people, whether you're a recurring subscriber, great. But I want to say thank you because we are near 55,000 subscribers. Let me show it to y'all real quick. $55,000 subscribers. All praise to the Most High. Look at that. 54,917 total subscribers. 1.4 million views in the past 28 days. 350,000 watch time hours. We're not playing in these streets, man. See this? 1.4 million. Do you see that? 1.4 million views. 1.4 million. I'm gonna show you this. Check it out. Watch this. People say, God is good. I'm being funny, but check it. Look, check it out. Your channel got 4,773% more views than usual in the last 28 days. We got over 1.4 million views. Let me show it to you some more. 1.4 million. 1,426,132 views in the last 28 days. In the last 28 days, we're going to end off before this month is over with 2 million views. That is significant. I'm going to tell you something. This is why this channel now is under the watchful, critical eye of YouTube. And there's a blessing and a curse going on. The blessing is the fact that we hitting those numbers. Now the algorithm has caught on to our channel and they're showing our content. Now, most of the content they're showing is old content, with the exception of the last video I posted, right? Well, actually, I posted 2 last videos. They actually deleted one. We're going to get into that in 1 second. So they started to take content that I did, old content, and they started to show it. Now, one video in particular is responsible for the bulk of these views, of these subscribers, of these watch time hours, right? I'm going to show it to y'all. See that top video? That Nick Cannon video from 2 years ago? 1.8 million views. That's almost at 1.9 million views. Right underneath it, you see that Kyrie Irving at 621K, right? Got the 163 on Who Are the Edomites Today and 116 on the me and Ron Dalton versus Harry Rosenberg debate, okay? So if you haven't seen any of these videos, I encourage you to go back and check out these videos, right? So back in August, that Nick Cannon video that I posted a Nick Cannon video, right? I posted that back in 2020, okay? This past summer, I think it was in June, maybe June, it saw a resurgence, right? This past June, it saw a resurgence. People started grabbing that video and started sharing it everywhere. I think we got up to 700K. We got up to 700K from that video alone. 700K. In August, once that video started taking off, in August, YouTube demonetized me, right? YouTube said, this is what they said. This is the excuse. Oh, you have reused content on your channel. Everybody has reused content on the channel. What are you talking about? You have reused content on your channel. They don't tell me which videos that they're referring to. They just tell me to address the matter and you can reapply for monetization in 30 days. I attempted that twice. They rejected my reapplication 2 times. So I said, you know what, forget it, whatever, right? But that particular video, we made $7,800 in 2 months eating off of that video. Took that money, plugged it into the programs we were working on and the product we was working on, and was able to make ends meet. We took a portion of that. We had requests coming in for people that need bills paid, rent paid, car note paid. We was able to pay that. Just all that money we pushed off. YouTube saw that, oh, this particular video is taking off because celebrities started sharing it. Celebrities started sharing. How did I know? Because people were tagging me in Instagram videos where people were sharing the video, and people was tagging me in Facebook posts and Twitter posts where the video was being shared at. I was like, oh, okay. So now YouTube was like, oh, what's this? Because, you know, before I was flying under the radar. And remember, up to that point, all that content, whatever content it may have been that they said that was reused, was like that for, I don't know how many, for like at least a year, and they didn't bother me. Once the algorithm picked up that video because people started sharing it, YouTube said, wait, let's go ahead and check out this. Who's this guy right quick? Oh, what? Yo, hit him with that demonetization, man. Let's slow this down. Hit me with the demonetization, right? I guess they thought that was going to break me, that was going to shut me up, or whatever the case may be, or no, that I looked at it was an irritant. I'm gonna say that. It was an irritant. I'm like, why are you being petty and doing this? Like, this is crazy, because now what started happening is people started to go and subscribe without me saying subscribe, and people started to go back and watch other videos, and they started to email us, text us, hit me on social media. I don't even know who these people are, and I realized, oh, all y'all watched that video, and you went back and watched other content on the channel, and then you started to inquire further. I was like, oh, okay. Let's get this. Let's crack into the secular realm while people really at, because I'm tired of just keep preaching to the choir. We got to speak to the people outside of our circle, man. So that video was a means of pulling them in. YouTube saw all this activity. YouTube said, hit them with the demonetization. So, okay, YouTube, Fine. I tried twice. Cool. All right, cool. Keep your money. Whatever. You don't want to pay me for using ads on my content that's bringing views to your platform. Okay, whatever. It's not the end of the world, right? Thank the Most High that I have additional sources of revenue. So it's not the end of the world, right? And our ministry has a source of revenue. So it's not the end of the world. It's okay, right? We got products, goods, services, programs, membership. People who are part of the membership. We have people that donate. So we good, right? YouTube, we good, YouTube, right? So I said, okay, cool, no problem. I started doing my thing from August to now. I put up the Kyrie Irving video, right? That video got 622,000 views right now. The Kyrie Irving video, 622,000 views. The most views on that video than anybody else. Same thing with the Nick Cannon video. Nobody else has that Nick Cannon video at that high but this channel. That's the most high working, right? And I'm going to show you. There's a lot coming from this. Watch this, right? So I was like, all right, cool. It's taking off. Great. All praise to the Most High. Started getting more emails, people reaching in. Now that all the stuff is going on Kyrie and Kanye, that caused a resurgence for the Nick Cannon video. So now people are looking for this Jew thing or whatever because they know about the Nick Cannon. Say, man, I remember that Nick Cannon video, looking it up, and they find our video of the Nick Cannon video up there, front and center, right? Watching it, share, watch it, share, watch it, share. That started taking off. Kyrie Irving, put that up. That started taking off. I said, okay, the environment is prime. That Kanye West, let me put Kanye West up. I threw the Kanye West video on top of that. Icing on the cake, right? YouTube was like, oh no, you doing too much, bro. And you wording your stuff like what? Exposed to Jewish-controlled media. They definitely did not like that title. I did that just to see what would happen. Because they claimed that the Kanye West video was anti-Semitic. That's the claim that they make. Whether it is or not, it's up to you to judge, but that's the claim that they make. So they wind up removing my Kanye video at 12,600 views, something like that, right? They wind up taking it down, and they said it was because of hate speech, and then they hit me with a warning. They said this warning is going to stay on your YouTube channel forever. You do this again, we're going to suspend your account for 1 whole week. You do it again after that, we're going to suspend you one more time. You do it on your 3rd strike, we are removing your channel. It's YouTube talking to me now, right? Okay, YouTube. I see you. No problem. I ain't got no problems with you. Do what you got to do. At the end of the day, it's not going to stop anything, right? So that's what YouTube did. So even they removed the Kanye video, right? Why did I was like, okay, I could share it. I could share it somewhere else. You got Vimeo, you got Facebook, you got Instagram. I could share it somewhere else. It's not a big deal, right? The truth is still going to get out there regardless of how you operate and regulate your platform. It's your platform, right? I'm a guest in your house, no problem, right? But that didn't stop the views from these other videos. People dug up that Hebrews and Negroes debate that me and Ron Dalton did with Harry Rosenberg, added 56,000 views to it. People went into the Who Are the Edomites Today from Esau to Zionism, dug that up, added 28,000 views to it. Dug up my old debates and everything, add 15, 18, 19,000 views to it. Now, this is all in the past 28 days, family. The end of October coming into this month. Then I look now, we got 13,600 subscribers in the past 28 days. Almost 15,000 subscribers in the past 28 days. Almost 2 million views, approaching 2 million views on our Nick Cannon video. And we got 1.5 million views in the past 28 days. So whatever's going on is going on. That's not the icing on the cake or the cherry on top. I gave you the icing on the cake. Here's the cherry on top. Despite that, YouTube says, wow, even though we got to penalize them a little bit, because what if more people started gravitating towards this information that he's sharing? Is it dangerous? It's not dangerous. I don't say nothing anti-Semitic. I just tell you who we are, break down the scriptures for y'all and all that other stuff, give you other, things that we do in the community, all that. Okay, cool, whatever. You don't really have a reason to do anything, right? At the same time, it's a double-edged sword, because if we're bringing in that many views in, YouTube is running ads. YouTube is making money. All those videos got ads on them. I ain't getting nothing from them, but all those videos got ads on them. Okay, cool. In the past 2 weeks, I had 6 celebrities reach out to me. 6. 4 on Instagram, 1 on Twitter, and one on Facebook on my DivineProspect page. 6 celebrities. I would have never thought these individuals were watching my channel. So they went and saw these videos because people were sharing it, right? They reached out and say, hey, is this DivineProspect? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, who are you? So for the most part, 3 of them had their management reach out to me, but 3 of them were celebrities. They reached out to me themselves personally, right? I can't tell you who they are because they wanted me to keep it on the low, but I'll tell you what industries they're in, right? 4 of them is in the entertainment industry. 2 of them is in the music industry, right? I try to keep this stuff confidential, right? Even some stuff like from my family and friends, I don't want to tell too many people too much and word gets around or whatever, because I don't want to compromise their position. Because if they're going to identify as Israel, then they need to be in their position and not compromise it. So they reach out to me and they say, hey, somebody shared this video. I went back and looked at the additional content on your channel. Can you tell me more? What is this about? It looks interesting. I never learned this before in church, or, my grandmother never taught me this or shared with this to me. I never knew this information existed. And I was like, cool. So now I'm in a process of speaking to them, sharing, mentoring, tutoring them. All praise to the Most High. You see, this is why I accept the adversity. This is why I accept the trolls. Not only do I accept the trolls, I confront the trolls. I troll the trolls. It's okay. I'm all right with that. Because at the end of the day, there is a diamond to be found amongst crushing the coal. A diamond is going to be found. And this awakening is going to happen whether people like it or not. My thing is, I'm just treading lightly till I get all y'all on my other social media platforms and in my own independent platform. So that way, if anything ever happens to this YouTube channel, we Gucci. If something happens to this YouTube channel now, I'm telling you right now, the real ones are going to find where to find me, and they're going to continue getting that knowledge, and they're going to do the same thing on those other platforms. You're going to continue to push it until we grow and grow and grow. Now, you see, I don't know if the mods is in there. Mods, can you check that? See, this is what's going to start happening. We're going to start getting more and more of these distractions. YouTube can't even filter this stuff out. See, I should say something about YouTube because their spam filter is not effective. It's not working. YouTube, can I strike you for that? You allow this foolishness to come up in here? That's what you do, YouTube? It's all good, YouTube. I love you. I'm not anti-Semitic either. I'm not. I got love for Jews. I got love for Jews everywhere. I ain't got no problems, bruh. I got no problems. By the end of the day, you do what you need to do. We will do what we are called to do. You see, you do what you have to do. You do what you are forced and coerced to do. You do what you need to do to maintain your platform when the other interest groups can come breathing down your neck. I ain't got that type of heat, bruh. Ain't nobody breathing down my neck to do or not do anything. All I have is my obedience to Most High Yah and his people. You see, it's a difference. You got to wake up every day and you got to tippy toe. I ain't got to do that. You walking on eggshells. I'm walking on firm ground, bro. This stuff is not bothering me. Keep doing what you got to do. But just know this. If you are unrighteous in your advances towards me, it will be exposed. And I ain't saying I'm the one to do it. So tread lightly. There's scripture for that. Let's get. I'm gonna use a church scripture on them. Let me use it. Can I use an old school church scripture on them? Let's get it. Because we're not playing games. Shout out to all the new people that's in here today. You're probably like, how did I end up in this? I went and subscribed to this channel because I watched some Nick Cannon video, some Kyrie Irving video, some Hebrews and Negroes video, and I'm here. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming here. This is the real talk. This is how we talk for real. And unfortunately, because YouTube is the way it is, this is why we got a show. Look at my shirt. You see this? See this show right here? See this show? Let's talk about it. This is on Patreon. We got one episode on Patreon. We got to do the rest on Patreon. But now I got to regulate this real talk to Patreon. Patreon now has the option for me to upload videos directly to Patreon servers for them to display it for people that's there. And Patreon, we got paid content for people who pledge, and there's also free content on Patreon. See, people think everything on Patreon is behind a paywall. That's not true. We got free content on Patreon, and I'm gonna start posting more videos on Patreon, right? Just for general, in case something happens here, because Patreon doesn't do none of those strikes. They don't do none of that censorship. They don't do any of that. They let you rock. You got to do some OD stuff for them to kick you off their platform. That's not what we about. So let's get into scripture. I'm gonna get some scripture, some old school scripture. Let's get some old school scripture, right? Let's do this. All right. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. Let's do this. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's get the scripture. Let's zoom in. Hold on. Let me grab it up. Yeah, we got to do the soapbox thing before we get into the information. We always get down like that. Here we go. When they were few in number, of little account, and sojourners in it, wandering from nation to nation and from one kingdom to another people, he allowed no one to oppress them. He rebuked kings on their account, saying, touch not my anointed ones, do my prophets no harm. You see that, YouTube? As we are transversing through these virtual social media platform streets, Yah's not going to allow anybody to oppress us. While we under his watchful eye, under his mighty hand, while that is still occurring, we're keeping these statute laws and commandments and aligning ourselves with Yah and learning from the master teacher himself, Yeshua Bar Yosef, and on his account for us to Yah, firstborn of many brethren, right? Being the intercessor on our behalf, like the high priest did for Israel after the order of Melchizedek. Y'all could do what y'all want. No problem. But there's a warning that comes with that. You see, there's you ever get something and, like, for example, I bought my daughter an easy bake oven, right? And you know the functionality of it and stuff like that, but there's a little label that comes on it. Sometimes people overlook the label because they're so excited. The label is a warning label. Warning, contents get very hot. Warning, do not stick your finger here. Warning, do not. I got a whole warning label on me. YouTube, you listening? This platform comes with a warning label. Touch not my anointed ones and do my prophets no harm. He's not going to allow no oppression to come this way. And if there's if there's unrighteousness, if there's any vile or wickedness that's spewed this way, or if you decide to make decisions that you know does not violate your policy, but you want to do it to spite me anyway, there's an eye for an eye for that. It's a tooth for a tooth for that. It's going to come some restitution for whatever you do that's unrighteous, because I'm going to walk blamelessly. That's what I'm going to do. And I'll be able to prove that I didn't violate anything that y'all say, but it's okay. See, the reason why I'm still on this platform is because it's still an open, free platform. It attracts millions and millions, up to 1 billion people every year. So why would I not be on this platform? So this doesn't only go for you, YouTube, you trolls out there. I got a warning label on. That shirt coming soon. I got a warning label on. Do you understand? There's a warning label. Do not neglect, overlook, or gloss over the warning. It's there for a reason. Because when the maker made me, he made me with that warning label on me. So the people who did whatever they did to me, I go back and look at them today. I'm like, oh, shoot, that's crazy. When he says vengeance is his, I just got to sit back and watch. See, the difference is it's a different timeline. And our mindset, our vengeance wants to be quick. Nah, that's not good vengeance, man. You want quick vengeance? I tell people, right? You don't know how time can do somebody. See, we on our own timeline. A day is as 1,000 years. We on our own timeline. On his timeline, things work a little differently. He says, look, I got that. Don't worry about that. I'm going to keep you so busy. By the time I give you a break and you look back, you're going to be like, oh, you did all of that, yeah? Wow, that's crazy, because what I would have done would have been something that does not even compare to what you did. You used time to work them. I'm just looking back like, oh, shoot, that's crazy. I'm like, oh, word, look at that. I'm like, just throwing the pot on them. I'm like, you simmered it first. I wasn't even gonna think about simmering. You put it, you seasoned it and everything. You put it in the refrigerator. You took it, let it thaw out. After you thaw it out, you started heating a little. You let it simmer a little bit. I would have went straight to the microwave. You cooked them for real, for real. Oh, you slow roasted them. Put them in a rotisserie when you was done. I wasn't even thinking about any of that. You go back and you see how y'all worked them. You're like, oh, that's crazy. Work the situation. You're, oh, that's crazy. I'm like, oh, look at that. Like, oh, you didn't see that warning label? And next time you go look, you're going to heed that warning label, right? Why do you think Yah's doing all the stuff that he's about to do on behalf of Israel? Why do you think that? He allowed the nation to deal with them for a short period of time based on their disobedience, but the nations got greedy. The nations got envious. The nations took advantage what they was allowed to do. See, taking advantage you're allowed to do is saying you are a police officer and you are not allowed to run any background checks on anybody other than what you need it for your particular job. But let's say that you don't like somebody. Let's say you don't like somebody. You say, you know, I'm a police officer. I'm going to go look in the database anyway. You see, you've been given the privilege to do background checks on people, to do license lookups, to do criminal. You've been given that privilege, but that privilege was limited to the scope of work that you did while you was on duty. But when you decide that you want to take that privilege and extend it on your own without the written express permission and authority from those who are your overseers or superiors, now we're in a different ball game. There's consequences that come behind that. And the other nations did not heed that warning sign. Warning, you can do A, B, and C up until this point, but if you go past this, my wrath is upon you. Okay. Let me see what we're doing on time. Are we doing good on time? We doing good on time, family? I don't know. I'm just asking y'all. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just saying. Please make sure you follow me on all other social media outlets. Facebook, Divine Prospect. Instagram, @Kingdom Moments. Twitter, Divine Prospect. Clubhouse, @Divine Prospect. Pretty much just type Divine Prospect anywhere and you'll find it. Okay. Patreon, www.patreon.com/Divine Prospect. Follow me on all social media platforms in case something happens to this channel, because I have a warning that's sitting right smack dab on my YouTube channel. And if I happen to sneeze the wrong way, this channel is gone. Demonetization, censorship, restriction, and the complete excommunication. That's how it's looking, family. We on censorship now. It's all Gucci. It's all Gucci. Content on here, people have downloaded it already, posted it on the plate. This content is out there, man. YouTube, you can't delete all this content, man. You could try, it's okay. But like I said, there's a warning label, man. When I give y'all this t-shirt, you'll be, oh, that t-shirt is fire. Warning label. So when people think, when they about to trip up on you, just turn around, let them see the back, pause. Let them see that warning label. They're like, oh, because they're looking at you in the front, and they're misjudging you, stereotyping you, working you all type of crazy. And then when you walk away, they see that warning sign like, oh, with scripture on it. That's one of y'all's anointed? Oh, hey, excuse me, can you come back here? My bad. I know you. Yeah, I just want to make amends because I had a moment at that time. Yeah, they're gonna fix it. They're gonna get right. And if they don't get right, trust me, they're gonna get slow cooked. Okay, that's just what it is. All right. Anyway, family, let's transition, man. Let's transition. That was a little fun. Hopefully you enjoyed that already. Let's transition. All right. So, if y'all are privy to the Patreon, if you're not, sign up, www.patreon.com/.com. That's the best way you can support this channel. And you get immediate tangibles after you sign up, right? We We have over 800 posts on there, pieces of content on here, right? I share these 2 books here. I tell you all the time, culture is greater than theology. Theology is good, culture is better. Because when you have culture, you do not have to use theology to explain things that is simply cultural custom in nature. And the culture and custom lays the foundation for what we call spirituality, being led by the Spirit. Theology leads to religion. Culture leads to spirituality. 2 different things. And when it comes to the New Testament, because of the Greek and because from the lens of the Greco-Roman world, where theology was something that was a big deal, and out of theology came religion, and then that was predisposed or downloaded into your mind based on your church, your mama, your grandmama, your grandpappy, your daddy, society, whatever taught you. They have made you an outsider to something that you were an insider to. You didn't even realize that you was the reason why most of y'all can't understand the scriptures is because you're reading it through the lens of theology, that religion has taught you. Religion is giving you systematic theology to predispose you to have a particular perspective before you dive into the scriptures. In essence, disenfranchising you from your inheritance. If your ancestors passed this down to you, and the best way for you to get is through a social memory of the culture. Some of y'all don't hear me. The social memory of the culture. See, the culture is what preserves the social memory of the community. The culture does it. And there's elements you're taught within the culture so that you can understand these deep things. You can understand your history. You can get more in tune with the language, the customs and mannerisms, the application of said knowledge, the wisdom that peruses through it. They've made the insiders outsiders. And then they come in and suck the life out of it. And they give you the crumbs. That's what they've been doing to us. And people get mad when I always tell them that culture is important. So when you have Gentiles, and some of these people are our people, but they don't identify as Israel. But anyway, who write all these types of books, teaching you about the culture. These are not books that's not recommended by churches. I never seen one church recommend this book to me. Or at all. I've never seen it. I've never seen churches emphasize culture. Why? Because they're telling you you're not the people of the book. You're not the descendants of those people. You're an outsider. So you cannot understand the things that are for that people, which is their culture. You're an outsider. So you get the religion aspect, which is theology. That's how you understand these people. That's how you understand this book. That's how you understand this God. This is what they tell you. And I say to you, no, we're not going to deal with it deductively like that. We're going to work with the foundation, understanding the culture, so we can build a community and become autonomous. And because when we become autonomous, you create our Goshens, and our Goshens designed so that we're untouched when the judgments happen. Just like the first Exodus, it says Goshen was untouched. We're going to be untouched because we're going to have a self-sustainable ecosystem of support. Once we have that, we wait out the judgments until the second Exodus comes. In the interim, we work to build up these Goshens. Until then, we're so busy, we're not focused on, is it prophecy happening today? Is it happening tomorrow? You just work. You watch it happen and say, okay, I got it. And you continue to work. Don't get distracted and turn and look back, turn to salt, because you're so focused on a prophecy. And when you turn to salt, you shrivel up. And guess what? You leave the faith because you're like, oh, but it's 2022 and 2019 was 3 years ago. I know a lot of people that hit me up and say, brother, I've been told that 2019 was our redemption. Why are we still in captivity? I said, I never told you that. So I can't answer for what somebody else told you. I don't know about that. I would have told you, keep working. Don't worry about what that time clock. Keep working. Even if it's not in your lifetime, keep working. We got a whole lot of work to do, brother. You don't see this harvest out there? You don't know what that is? Let me break it down for you. Too much work to do. So don't get obsessed with prophecy that you neglect to put the work in preparation of the things that's to come. That's what I'm saying. I just want you to be focused and understand that. That's important. Okay. So these two books, excellent reads. I got through half of this and a quarter of this. This one is much longer. And these are Kenneth E. Bailey did an excellent job laying this stuff out. I mean, phenomenal job laying that stuff out, right? And also the other books that I show you to get further into the history, the cultural context, the environmental context of the text, which is very important. And I've shown y'all this before, right? All creatures, great and small, living things in the Bible, each according to its kind, plants and trees in the Bible, the works of their hands, man-made things in the Bible, and Hebrew poetry in the Bible. These are from the United Bible Society's publishing. Okay? This gives you more insight, and this goes back to what I taught y'all before in regards to when people say Israel is somewhere other than the text says, then they must show you that in realia, which is things made by man's hands, which is structures and irrigation channels and occultic items, burial grounds. They got to show you all this stuff, right? Architect, all of that, right? And then they got to show you in the plants, which is the fauna of that time, and the animals. They got to show you all of that in the environment today. And then you have this trinity of books that go into the manners and customs of Bible times, in the Bible, illustrated. All of these will get you deeper into the culture so you can build a foundation. Because if you don't have a foundation, guess what? You're going to be aimlessly looking for any kind of theology. You're going to be just like those Greeks that were following Paul. They was waiting to hear any wind of this and that about this God and that God. That's how you're going to be in these streets. And if you're going through the so-called Brit Hadashah with a Greco-Roman mindset, or you hate it because, oh, it's Greek, then you need to read books that realign you. It's that simple. Stop being lazy. Do the work before you complain. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Do the work before you complain. Okay. All right. Did we transition into that? Like I said, yes. So what I'm gonna say is, I wanted to get into this right here, and this will be on the Patreon. If you haven't checked out the Patreon, but I'm gonna get into it because I want to show you the value in it. Right? It's very, very important to see this because, again, the Bible is not as complicated as people make it out to be. The reason why they want you to believe the Bible is complicated is so that you can rely on other people to teach it to you. You don't do that here. I'll show you how to do this for yourself because this is important for you. You don't need to rely, should never rely on somebody too much when it comes to following Yah. You follow them enough to develop your own relationship and to know how to interpret what he's saying and what he said. Two different things. See, some people know what he said, they don't know what he's saying. Some people know what he's saying, don't know what he said. But a person that knows both, they're in right standing. You understand? Okay. Just talking. AFD, yes, I did. Sure have. I did a whole lecture on it. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it for you. I'm going to find it for you. I did two of them, actually. Here's the first one. Well, that's actually this part one of the second one. And here is the first one. The Abiru that you're speaking about, that lecture is in the first link I shared with you. All right, go check out that first link. It's 2 parts, and you'll have your answer in there. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's slow down for a second. I know there's a lot of new people here, from all this Kanye, Kyrie Irving controversy, right? If there's somebody here from that, and you have, and again, I can tell because I'm familiar with a lot of the names, and I see some people here are brand new, let me know. Because if you want to talk in a future, no problem, AFD. If you want to talk in a future lecture and you have questions, I have no problem doing it. So a lot of people saw that video I did with that Caucasian woman, right? Trying to answer her questions, right? And I'm going to say this. We're not racist over here. Anybody that wants to align and ally with Yisrael, the door's open. Come in. We're here. As long as you understand the protocol, as long as you understand who's the lead, come on in. You have no problem with that. Now, some people will hear that. That's a hard pill to swallow because they don't want to. Why should we follow y'all? You don't have to. But if you hear this word of truth, you have an ear to hear, and it resonates in your soul, and it convicts you to say, wow, I want to ally with them. You know that you're aligning with Israel. Christians have no problem being Zionists. No problem say, yo, those Jews, let's pray for them. Let's give millions of dollars to them. Let's encourage the government to give billions of dollars to that state over there. But these people say they Jews? Nah, we're not going to pay them no mind. Nah. I would hate to be on the wrong side of what's about to come. But if they want to align with us, that's fine. If that woman said, you know what, Divine, what you're saying is the truth. I believe that y'all do have a case for being Israel, and I'm going to align myself with Israel. But you know why she couldn't align herself with Israel? Because she was trying to make Jacob look crazy in the scripture and follow Esau. Now, y'all know my position on that. I don't say all white people was Edomites or Esau. I don't say that stuff. Matter of fact, I did a whole lecture on that. Go check it out, right? What I'm saying is she decided that she was going to condemn Jacob. But if you condemn Jacob, how can you then align with Israel? That means you're trying to replace Israel. That's what it seemed. But with that care and due diligence that I handled her with, right? With respect and everything, I give that to anybody. It doesn't matter. So if somebody's new to this channel and you want to have a conversation, let's say you've never heard this stuff before, and you want to have a conversation or a dialogue, let me know. I got you. Either you can schedule an appointment in the link in the description below. If you don't see, I don't know if I did a description for this video because I was trying to get up real quick. Pause. But if you go back to previous videos, I have in the description box a link that you can click on if you want to schedule an appointment. And it will be on this video when I copy and paste it after the video is over too. So if you watch it on the replays there too. But share this with somebody that you know who has not been exposed to this, because we're going to continue to relinquish some life-altering information. And we're not just going to leave you with knowledge. We're going to give you the understanding. And then once we see you have the understanding, then we're going to give you the wisdom. And then once we give you the wisdom, we want to see you apply it. I want to see repeatable results. I told y'all this is scientific. See, the problem is people don't understand the science behind this. This is the whole science behind this. It's a science. It's a science. People don't want to see it as a science. You say it's just merely a science. I didn't say it was just merely a science. I said it's a science. That science is designed to lead you somewhere. A lot of us don't have the formula. See that? We don't have the formula. But we're slowly giving it, because some of this stuff could be very heavy. And I want to give it in palatable bite sizes that you can take it, swallow it, digest it, let it become a part of you. And then we provide you services, programs, and products to alleviate the societal ills that restrain and restrict you from getting a clear path to this information that then leads you closer to Yah. Okay. All right. Okay. So if anybody new out there, let me know. You can also email us, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. If you need some hand holding, we got you. We have no problem with that. Right? If any celebrities out there watching, I know a lot of y'all, I'm being told from other celebrities that I know, y'all are afraid to reach out. It's okay. Listen, y'all can sit there silently and watch. I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm not trying to take no photo ops from you. I'm not asking you to donate. I'm not asking you to do nothing but get the information and allow it to transform your life in a way that Yah can now speak to you more. Because if you're watching this for a reason. It's not by accident. You're watching it because something led you here. And that thing that led you here pushed and ushered you to this point in time. Now you're here with us. And it's okay. You ain't got to say nothing. You ain't even got to reach out to me in your life. I'm okay with that. Stay in the position that you're at. Learn behind closed doors. And then after we give you the knowledge, if you do want to share it, we'll teach you the diplomacy and tact to utilize if you want to disseminate it to people outside of your circle or within your circle. So that way you're not ridiculed, blackballed, and rejected. You can see in your society and your position. So if Israel comes under scrutiny or some kind of issue, something's coming down, you could be our Mordecai's and our Esther's. We need Mordecai's, and we need a lot more Mordecai's and Esther's because a lot of stuff is about to come down the pike, and too many of y'all are rejecting the Mordecai's and Esther's that's in these high positions. You're scrutinizing them. You're talking bad about them. But these could be the same people that can save Israel, and y'all can use them in the causative. You know, the causative, the heat field stuff, the causative, because, you know, a lot of the work that Yah does, if you'll get to learn the language, you know the verb stem heatful. You know how to identify the heatful. You got your hey prefix and your hitic under the second root radical. You got a lot of morphology going on in there, but you're able to identify these things and say, oh, Yah caused the action to happen. There's really not an equivalent or parallel English direct translation for those elements. So a lot of times it's left out in your translations. One of those things is even in what we call the Kitayel stem, the reflective active voice. For your Deuteronomy 28:68 lovers out there. So what I'm saying is these individuals can be the vessels and be the causative actions of Yah to get things done in the earth in these last days. In order for the earth to help us, in order for the women to flee with the wings, in order for all these things to happen while persecution is coming upon us, for us to maneuver the way we do, we need those Esthers and Mordecai's. We need those Daniels and those Josephs. We need those Nehemiahs, those Nehemiahs. Y'all ostracizing them, and I'm saying, yo, come on in. There's a seat right there. Sit right there. Don't worry about what they said. Check all that out the door. We got you. Don't worry about it. All right. Okay. All right. Yes, sir. That's it. Y'all afraid of science, but I'm just laying it out. That's what it is. That's the definition right there. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get into this before it gets too late. In case y'all got some questions. All right. So let me show this on my screen real quick. I'm off the soapbox now. So let's get into the actual work. Right. Hold on one second. And just so you know, the Keshed magazine is still out there. If you're interested in the Keshed magazine, look in the description box below. Click on the link. Check it out. We have our own magazine. We also have our naturopathic eating service. So if you're interested in getting any health services from a naturopathic perspective, we do consultations to get you right. The email is naturopath2eating@gmail.com. That's in the link below. If you have debt, suffering from debt, bad credit, and you need a consultation where we give you free game, we got free game on the channel. I give free game out everywhere, man. We got free game. We give you a free consultation, tell you what to do. This is what you do. This is what you got. This is what you do. You have this is what you do. We tell you what to do. Free consultation. We tell you what to do. And then we say, but if you want us to do it for you, here's our small fee. So if you need help with bad credit repair, Jubilee Main Mission at gmail.com. We're here to help you. Right? That email will be in the description below. Okay. We also have our own KHM virtual homeschool service in partnership with a higher academy. If you want to sign up for that, the website is in the link. The website link is in the description below as well. Also, if you need assistance with the religious exemption or accommodation letter, because either one, you don't want to get the COVID vaccine, flu vaccine, or any other kind of vaccine. Number two, you want to be able to take certain days off for work, for worship, right? The feast days, the Sabbaths, etc. 3, you have a beard, locks, head wrap, dress, whatever is customary for this walk, and you want to protect those rights, we can assist you with that as well. Or if you're going to university and you need something to stop the discrimination against you, We got that. If you're looking for a job and they say, hey, you need the COVID vaccine and you need a religious exemption letter, we got you. These are all services that we offer, products and programs that we offer, our calendar. If you need the dates, and a lot of y'all need the dates, we should have those available by Monday. And if they Monday, I'll post them on the community tab. Make sure you taking a look at that in advance before the calendar for next year is done. So if you need to take those days off, you can. And if you need a religious exemption letter in conjunction with those dates that we provide you so you can give it to your employer, we're here to help. That's what we're here to do. These are services that we offer. We've helped hundreds of people navigate all of this. Our objective is to remove these societal ills so the information I'm about to give you can soak in a little deeper and you can retain it a little longer. And if you could, the longer you're able to soak it in, the longer you're able to retain it, the longer you're able to recall and regurgitate it, the more that once it's regurgitated, you can explain it. And the more that your explanation is coupled with application that is repeatable, now it becomes a part of you. Now you are the information. You're the living epistle of Yah. He's written it all on you. You're alive now because now you worked in the techniques. So now that you can perform it. And not just perform it, but outperform it. You can outperform it. You can. It's there. You don't need Joel Osteen to tell you that. We got you. We're hooking you up. We got you. Don't worry about it. So before I proceed, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're brand new. Hit that bell notifications. You can get all the updates on when we're live and when new content is posted to this channel. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the content thus far. And also make sure you share this video on all your social media channels. ASAP. Let's get it done. All right. So this is what I want to show you on my screen. Okay. Let me pull it up here. Okay. So this right here, I had put this together, the top 10 resources, tools for proper biblical exegesis, beginner's edition. I did the background. I put the DivineProspect logo at the top left, and I put this right here in this font. And this is important because, as you can see, there's actual tools surrounding the Bible, right? And each tool serves a unique purpose that another tool may not be able to do. And some tools can be used for dual purposes, even a purpose that you initially did not seek out for it to do. But if you are not armed and equipped with these tools and or these resources, you will be left with a question mark. Why does the Bible say this? Why does the Bible say that? You have no clue. And we don't want you to be clueless, because if culture is the foundation of what we teach here, if you don't understand the scriptures, you're not going to get the culture. And the culture is the thing that people will bind together behind and create a community. And I've said this before, the most successful communities in this country and the world are the ones that have common culture, common customs, and common mannerisms. You can have a community, a mixed community, right? With just neighbors looking out for each other, or, you go to work and you have some guys at work or girls at work that you're cool with, right? And that's cool and all, but you're not obliged to do anything because you have no inherent mandate to do A, B, and C. You see? But if you have the common culture, customs, and mannerisms, now you're obliged to do for this person that shares in the same culture, customs, and mannerisms as you. You're obliged. And if allies of Israel decide that they want to wane away, push away from their previous allegiances and align with Yah and his people, then they will also share in this common culture, customs, and mannerisms. They will give it up for Yah. Give it up so that true Israel has the aid and relief that they need so that Yah's work can be done in this planet. So in order for us to get to that point where we are an active community that has the same shoresh, the same root in culture, customs, and mannerisms, so that we look, talk, walk the same, we have an obligation to each other and to our Maker. that we are binded by, that we are covenanted into. It's different. It's a different. So the other groups that are winning and getting greater as we're getting smaller is because that's what they have. That is what binds them. You understand? Even their converts relinquish their past allegiances in order for them to align with these particular groups. And what I'm going to do after I lay out for you this information, I'm going to show you a documentary that I watched recently that will help to break down for you something in the culture of a particular people that explains why they are so successful. See, the problem is y'all are pointing too many fingers and saying, look, these guys are not real, and these guys are doing this to us, and these guys are doing that to us. But what about what is in the culture that we were given? Because last time I read Deuteronomy chapter 28, it started off with curse. No, it started off with blessings if you obey. That's what I read. Now, maybe y'all may have a different Bible. That may be the case. Maybe your Bible starts off with the curses and say, well, if you do Torah, then maybe you'll get these blessings. That's not what I read. Maybe that's what y'all read. I didn't read that. So what I'm saying to you is that there is benefits for being obedient. And the more of us that's obedient, the more collectively we can enjoy these benefits. And when I say benefits, I'm not talking about material gain per se. That is a byproduct of us being obedient. That's a byproduct. We get the spoils. That'll come to you. But that's not what you seek first. So the point I'm trying to make is, in order for us as a people group to be successful, we have to understand the root cause to why we are who we are and what our obligation is to one another and to our maker. So what I want to provide for you is tools and resources, or resources and tools to get you closer to that. Now on Patreon, I go over all 10 of these things. And if you have access to, and if you have these 10 items, then when you come across almost anything in the scripture, you'll be able to unlock it right there. What I'm going to do on the Patreon is make a separate video for each one of these top 10, walking you through what it is, why it's helpful, etc., where you can get it from, etc., right? And once you have all 10 of these items, and the number 10 one is varied. That means this one is almost unlimited. Number 10 is unlimited, right? You just got to know where to look for it at, how to find it. I'm gonna give you all that free game. I'm gonna give it to y'all. I'm gonna share it with y'all. Tonight, I'm gonna give you 1, 2, 3, 4 of those resources tonight. 4 of those resources. I'm gonna give them to you tonight. You're gonna take it, and then after you learn how to utilize it tonight, then you can try it somewhere else and come back and tell me what your results are. And if you're serious about your study, sign up for that Patreon, sign up for the classes. And then before those classes even start, I'm going to do those videos in each one of these tools so that you have them in advance before we start those classes. I'm trying to help you succeed here. There's not no gotcha moments. I'm not setting this up to say who's the best student. Everybody's the best student. Everybody gets to learn at their own pace. There's no failures. Nobody's left out in the cold. Because I'm telling you what to do. Years and years of study and research. And now this is what I'm divulging to you. So in these top 10, I'm going to give you 4 of these, and I'm going to show you a practical example of how I recently applied it. Because I apply it all the time, but I'm going to give you a practical example of how I recently applied it. So let's close this out for a second. Let me bring something up on my screen. All right. Again, like Nicole Birch just said, click the like button. Click the like button. Okay. I'm just seeing y'all putting a lot of stuff up here. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's see. Somebody asked me to do a video on all the lost books. That would be a long video. There's a lot of lost books. When you say lost, are you talking about the apocryphal books? Are you talking about the pseudepigraphal books? I'm not sure what you mean when you say lost. Are you talking about the Nag Hammadi library books? I don't know what you mean when you say that. The Gnostic books, you got to be more definitive and more meticulous so I can address that for you. But I have spoken on other quote unquote lost books before. I don't know if you're talking about Enoch. I don't know if you're talking about Jubilees. I don't know if you're talking about Jasher. I don't know what you mean when you say that. So if you can be more particular, maybe I can say yes, I already did it, or yes, I'll look into getting it done. All right. All right. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so let me start off by going to the scripture. So previously, me and my family, we did a Bible study, and we're going through the book of Joshua, right? Currently, we on Joshua chapter 10. We just finished. I'm going into Joshua chapter 11. What I want to show you is how to use 1, 2, 3 tools. First one tool we're going to use to actually get the scripture. The other 3 we're going to use to get more insight into the scripture. Okay. So if we go to Joshua chapter 10, and again, this is just showing you a sample of what you can expect from the classes that we have going on, and also the information you can get on the Patreon and the videos and our posts that we make on these various scriptures passages. So if you see me do a blog or something, or write or speak on something in particular, I'm using these tools actively. When I study, I use these tools. So if you're like, oh man, Divine got some kind of phenomenal breakdown of this and deep about that, I'm telling you how I'm showing you how I'm getting it, right? Aside from divine inspiration, aside for that, right? Because I know some people watching so secular, they don't subscribe to that, and that's fine. Aside from that, I'm showing you the techniques and methodology how to get it. So in Joshua chapter 10, what we're going to start off with, right? Joshua chapter 10, and I'm going to hone in on something in particular, okay? I'm going to go from verse 16 to verse 43. I really was going to do 28 because that's a lot. But I'm going to read verse 16 to verse 43. After I read this and you get a good amount of it, then I'm going to go reveal the tools. Let me put it on the screen. Actually, I'm going to put it on the screen so y'all can see. But I'm going to also read it from the first tool. I'm going to show you what this first tool is. This can be applied to any group of passages in Scripture. All right? And I'm sorry if your moray ain't showing you this, your pastor ain't show you this. I'm sorry if your imam never showed. I'm sorry if they just never taught you this stuff. It's okay. Right? It's okay. It's all right. Yeah. None of those people, none of those aforementioned people showed me any of this anyway. So I don't blame you. Okay. We're gonna start at verse 16. Okay. Let me know if I think y'all can see. Is it sharing? Let me see if it's sharing. No, it's not sharing. Let's share it. Let's share this. All right, here we go. All right. All right. Y'all ready? If y'all ready, hit 1. If y'all ready and still awake, hit 1. If you're ready and still awake, hit 1. Right? Like Solomon ben David said, get your notes out. Get your papers ready, pen and paper. All right. Good thing this is recorded, so you can always go back and check it out. Hit 1 if you're ready. Let me know if you're ready. All right, let's go. All right, this is Joshua chapter 10, verse 16. These 5 kings fled and hid themselves in the cave of Makkedah. So keep that in mind. Makkedah. What is that? Right? Okay. And it was told to Joshua, the 5 kings had been found hidden in the cave of Makkedah. And Joshua said, roll large stones against the mouth of the cave and set men by it to guard them, but do not stay there yourselves. Pursue your enemies, attack their rear guard. Do not let them enter their cities, for the Most High, your power, has given them into your hands. Matter of fact, I just thought about it. I'm going to give you another tool. There's another tool. Forgot about this tool. Let me pull this tool up. Man, two belt is sick. I'm about to show you some stuff, man. Just give me 1 second. I got you. Gotcha. I want y'all to get this. Let me bring this up. I want y'all to see this. Let me get this real quick. Hold on. All right. All right, let's get that. Let me get this too. All right. Let's keep going. All right. I got another resource. Let's keep going. All right. So the key thing is pursue your enemies, attack their rear guard. Okay. Do not let them enter their cities, for the Most High Yah, your power, has given them into your hand. When Joshua and the sons of Israel had finished striking them with a great blow until they were wiped out, and when the remnant that remained of them had entered into the fortified cities, then all the people returned safe to Joshua in the camp at Makkedah. Not a man moved his tongue against any of the people of Israel. Then Joshua said, open the mouth of the cave and bring those 5 kings out to me from the cave. And they did so, and brought those 5 kings out to him from the cave: the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Yarmouth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon. And when they brought those kings out to Joshua, Joshua summoned all the men of Israel and said to the chiefs of the men of, scroll down some more, of war who had gone with them, come near, put your feet on the necks of these kings. So there's a lot of things going on here so far, right? We have this word, Makkedah, right? Makkedah. Then we have this attack their rear guard, right? And then we go down and we see this idiom, come near, put your feet on the necks of these kings. And they did this literally, but let's keep going. Then they came and put their feet on their necks, and Joshua said to them, do not be afraid or dismayed, be strong and courageous. This seems to be a common statement of encouragement that is heard replete throughout the book of Joshua. If you don't get nothing else, I want y'all to remember verse 25. Most important verse that can stick with you no matter what you go through. Do not be afraid or dismayed. Be strong and courageous, for thus Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh will do to all your enemies against whom you fight. And afterwards Joshua struck them and put them to death, and he hanged them on 5 trees, and they hung on the trees until evening. But at the time of the going down of the sun, Joshua commanded, and they took them down from the trees and threw them into the cave where they had hidden themselves. And they set large stones against the mouth of the cave, which remain to this day. As for Makkedah, Joshua captured it on that day and struck it and its king with the edge of the sword. He devoted to destruction. This right here, another phrase, crazy phrase. If you ever dibbed and dabbed into Islam, you've heard in the Quran the word haram. Interesting. Again, this is why these tools are going to help you break this stuff down. He devoted to destruction every person in it. He left none remaining, and he did to the king of Makkedah just as he had done to the king of Jericho. Right? Okay. Verse 29. Then Joshua and all of Israel with him passed on from Makkedah to Libnah and fought against Libnah, and the Most High Yah gave it also and its king into the hand of Israel. Right? This give it into the hand of Israel. That's another idiom. Again, I'm not going to pull out everything here because we'll be here all night. But these are things that we freeze and we go and we examine in our Bible studies, right? So what does it mean to give into the hands of something, right? And he struck it with the edge of the sword, and every person in it, he left none remaining in it. And he did to its king as he had done to the king of Jericho. Now, another thing that's important, that people who are postmodernists who get emotional about the text start to say, they killed everybody. That's what they're saying. You know what I say to them? You American citizen? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Can I see your ID? You mind sharing it? Okay, let me see. Okay. In World War II, somebody dropped 2 nuclear bombs on a particular, 2 particular cities, a particular group of people. 2 nuclear bombs. The first and only time, as of now, that has ever been used as a weapon of mass destruction on a particular people group during an act of war, a time of war. You know what nation that was? I'm gonna give you a second. Maybe you didn't get that in school. I'm gonna give you a second. Oh, America. Yes. So the United States of America dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You think that those cities only had military personnel there? They wiped them people out. Did you know that the U.S. has missions and excursions in Iran and Iraq? Not Iran, excuse me, Iraq, specifically the city of Baghdad, during the early 2000s, when supposedly there were weapons of mass destruction that was never found to this day, and they wiped out town after town after town. I know because I have associates that was in the military at that time, and they were tasked to kill and wipe out entire towns because either they were not giving up intel, they were housing and abetting a terrorist. Towns were bombed, people were shot. Now, did they say they did this every time? I'm not saying that. I said certain towns they were doing this, killing everything in there, everything, just to get one point of interest, person of interest. That at the time it looked like they didn't even get the person, they wasn't even there. This is what happens when there's warfare. You cannot get skittish when there's war going on. How can you get skittish when there's war? There are acts of war that happen all the time. This has been going on forever. This is how it was back then. The way that the rules of engagement for war in ancient times or antiquity occurred is different than what it is in modern warfare. Right? And this is not saying, this is not a nod to Call of Duty either. Some of y'all play Call of Duty, right? So what I'm saying is you cannot be skittish getting into the text, and you cannot be so reserved getting into the text. If you're emotional, put the text down. It's not for you. Go do something else. Right? If you're over emotional, I'm not going to say emotional. If you're over emotional about these things, put it down. You don't understand the significance of that. Why don't you seek out to understand that first? And then once you understand it, then you can say at that point, I agree or disagree. Most people don't do that. They're looking for excuses to put blame on the text so they don't have to oblige themselves to. This is what happens. Let's keep going. Verse 31. Then Joshua and all Israel with him passed on from Libnah to Lachish and laid siege to it and fought against it. And Yod-Heh-Waphe gave Lachish into the hand of Israel, and he captured it on the second day and struck it with the edge of the sword, and every person in it, as he had done to Libnah. Right? So let's see something real quick. I just want to see something just for fun. Right? Let's see something just for fun. See something just for fun. Let me see if I see it here. Okay. I'm going to find it for y'all. All right. Let's just keep going. Verse 33. Then Horam, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Joshua struck him and his people until he left none remaining. Verse 34. Then Joshua and all Israel with him passed on from Lachish to Eglon, and they laid siege to it and fought against it, and they captured it on that day and struck it with the edge of the sword, and he devoted every person in it to destruction that day, as he had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and all Israel with him went up from Eglon to Hebron, and they fought against it and captured it and struck it with the edge of the sword and its king and its towns and every person in it. He left none remaining, as he had done to Eglon, and devoted it to destruction. Then Joshua and all Israel with him turned back to Debir and fought against it, and he captured it with his king and with all its towns, and they struck them with the edge of the sword and devoted them to destruction. Every person in it, he left none remaining. just as he had done to Hebron and to Libnah and its king, so he did to Debir and to its king. So Joshua struck the whole land, the hill country and the Negev. What is that? And the lowland and the slopes. Where's that? And all their kings. He left nothing remaining, but devoted to destruction all that breathed, just as the Most High power of Israel commanded. And Joshua struck them from Kadesh Barnea as far as Gaza and all the country of Goshen and as far as Gibeon. And Joshua captured all these kings and their land at one time, because the Most High power of Israel fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned and all Israel with him to the camp at Gilgal. Now, there's a lot in there. In our classes, we're going to go through passage by passage by passage by passage, passage by passage by passage for 2 hours. Well, hour and a half, 30 minutes, question and answer. Hour and a half, we're going to go through the passages, bring some insights out, allow 30 minutes of question and answering to go back and revisit some things that wasn't pulled out. And then you have a whole 2 hours packed of so much insight that you've never seen in the scripture before in your life. So much stuff. Every class is popping. Because you're going to find stuff that you've never seen before. Like, what? That was there? I didn't even realize that. What I just read for y'all in all these passages, there's a ton of stuff there. I cannot touch on everything. What I will say is this, okay? There was one tool. Let me see who's paying attention. I want to see who answers this question. Might be a prize to it, might not. I don't know. If I wanted to find out where the hill country is at, the Negev is at, the lowland and the slopes, what tool will I use to discover these items? And I went over this before in a previous session. I'm going to see who's paying attention. What tool would I use? Let me see who says it first. What tool would I use if I want to see where Eglon is at, Hebron, Debir, Lachish, Libnah? If I want to know about the hill country, the Negev, the lowland, the slopes? Tell me. Okay, so Learn Yah and Yeshua said an atlas. That is 1,000% correct. Let's get into it, okay? Now, not just that. Well, actually, yeah, we're gonna start there, okay? Let me show you this book. This is the Zondervan Essential Atlas of the Bible, right? By Carl G. Rasmussen, okay? Let me show you the back of this book. It's really dope. It says, an up and close and comprehensive look at the Bible, no Bible degree required. Discover everything you need to know about the lands where Jesus walked, Moses traveled, and Paul preached. Packed with multi-dimensional maps, photos, and charts, the Zondervan Essential Atlas of the Bible is designed to help you better understand the history and places of the Bible and its world. The full-color atlas is concise but thorough, perfect for Bible students, travelers to the Holy Land, or any reader of the Bible curious to find out more about commonly mentioned places in the Old and New Testaments, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I scanned 2 pages for you out of this so we can go back and look to see what's going on. We read a lot of information. If I was to put a map, let's do it right now. Let's do it right now. Hold on, since we're talking, right? Let's do this. I'm going to do it right now. Okay? All right. Let me show you why you need this tool. Okay? This right here is Israel, right? If I was to say to you, show me where those southern campaigns was at, because they mentioned the Negev, which means the south. Where did those southern campaigns take place at? Can you show me on this map where those southern campaigns took place at? Can you show me on this map where the northern campaigns took place at? Where did these kings, their people, and those place names, where are they at on this map? You see? This is why you need an atlas. So let's dive into that. Let me show it to you real quick. Let me pull it up on the screen. Okay. Here we go. This is on page 50 of this essential atlas that I showed you. Okay. Again, I'm giving y'all free game now. All of this is important. Places have names for a reason. I'm going to get into that in 1 second, right? But I want to show you this because you have to be able to see for yourself on a map where these things happen at, what the geographical and topological features of a particular region has, why fortified cities are in certain areas, why certain people groups live in the plains, some live in the Central Hill countryside, some live in the coastal plains, some live in the what we call a wilderness or a desert, why they only attack certain cities. They didn't attack every city that was in there, only particular cities. Why? What resources were they housing? You're not going to expense a bunch of resources to go to war with a particular city if that city has no resources to replenish the resources you're using to expense to take over the city. So here you have it right here. Okay. This is the what we call the central and southern campaign. Do you see that? See this? From Jericho, we go to Gibeon, right? To Gibeon, we go up to Upper Beth Horon, and we go down past Aijalon and go all the way down when we go to Yarmuth, Azekah, Libnah. We go to Lachish, Eglon, Makeda. We go to Hebron and Debir, right? We go through. So they come across the Jordan River, okay, into Jericho, and they go into these areas right here. This is their southern campaign. The central campaign goes from Beth Yeshimoth to Gilgal, which is where they were settled at, to Etkel I, or what they call I, to Kerbet El Makatir, to Bethel, right? Or Bethel. They go to these three places. So they go from here, here, here. This is where they go to their, what we call their central campaign. Then they move their way south and go to their southern campaigns. These are all major cities that house major resources, right? And you have to do that because once you break down those cities, everything else around it is a piece of cake, right? Because you got all the resources. If I want to take over Atlanta, I'm not going to attack greater Atlanta. If I seize the city of Atlanta, everything on the outskirts of Atlanta is mine too. You understand? This is why attacking these certain cities were important. This is why you need an atlas. Atlas shows you this visually. And then it goes into depth and gives you information behind that, right? Watch this. Let me show you. It says, let's see. The conquest of Ai, Joshua 7:8, presents the historical geographer with serious problems. Biblical Ai is normally identified with Ethel. This town is said to lie to the west of Bethel. Thus, the unusual identification of Bethel with the modern Beitin lends support to the identification of Ai with Ethel. But the archaeological picture of Ethel does not agree at all with the historical data found in the Bible. According to the excavators, the large EB city or early bronze city was destroyed circa 2400 BCE, and the site was not inhabited again until circa 1200 BCE. Thus, no matter which date of the conquest is espoused, whether 1406, which is the timeline that I use, or 1250, Ethel was apparently unoccupied at the time Ai was supposed to have been conquered by Joshua, right? In fact, there seem to be three different places called Ai in the Bible. The Ai mentioned in the patriarchal narratives is to be identified with Ethel. The Ai destroyed by Joshua is possibly to be located at the 2-acre fortified site of Kerbet El Makatir, located only 0.6 miles to the west of Ethel and 1 mile south of Betin. It says a late bronze one wall fort had been found there. The Eye of Ezra, 228, and Nehemiah, 732, 6th and 5th centuries BC, is to be located at Kerbet Chayan, about 1 mile south of Etel. Next, the Israelites moved southward to the Shechem area. Nearby on Mount Ebal, Joshua built an altar to God, sacrificed, and wrote on stones, monumental standing stones. That's also important. What is that? What does that mean? A copy of the Mosaic Law on Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim, the Israelites read the curses and blessings of the law as the covenant between the people of and Yahweh was renewed. When the people of the land of Canaan heard of Israel's victories at Jericho and Ai, they banded together for mutual defense. However, a group of Hivites living in the cities of Gibeon, Kiphirea, Be'eroth, and Kiriath Jearim chose to make a treaty with Israel. And this is something that is part of Torah. When it says, before you go into these cities, offer a treaty of peace with them. If they accept the terms and agreements, fine. You can take over that city, but you cannot attack or harm the citizens, right? This is how the Gibeonites got the Israelites, right? And it says, but if they don't and they want to go to war, then you pop off with them, like get it popping, take over the city by force. But they had to follow Torah in doing so. And therefore, the Gibeonites got away with it, right? Because they made a treaty with Israel. And once Israel makes a pact with them, they can't go back on it, right? So Israel was responsible for protecting the Gibeonites, right? From anybody, right? You'll see that actually in Joshua chapter 10, but I'll let you read the entire chapter for that, right? But what we're starting to see, if you scroll down, you see this image over here, right? This is an image. Look at this, right? This is Gibeon, modern day Gibeon, but this is what the land of Gibeon looks like. You see, you got to understand the geographical features of the area, of the region, to understand why it's called certain names. Something happened there. It's a geographical feature. It's a toponym, a name after a patriarch or a matriarch or something like that. All of that is important. Or some realia there, some man-made feature that they created there, right? This is why an atlas will help you. Also, if you go to page 52, it shows you the northern campaign, right? This is where they attacked in the northern campaign. These is where these cities is at, right? So the northern campaign starts to touch on what we call the coastal plains, okay? This is the Sidon, the Tyre Sidon region, which is Phoenicia, right? Became Phoenicia, right? Or modern day, we call Libya, right? So hold on. Let's get, hold on. Let me, we got timelines and everything, but we're going to slow down for 1 second, right? I want to read something for you at the end of this, right? Thus, the initial stages of the conquest of Canaan were completed, yet the biblical writers were well aware that within Canaan there were still large portions of country controlled by non-Israelites. The apportionment of the land, the settlement of the Israelites in it, and the attempt to deal with the non-Israelite population groups would preoccupy the Israelites for the next several hundred years, right? This sums it up. If you go right above that, let me just read this part right here for you, right? The one that I read from, right? It tells you that the kings were the kings, and their armies fled westward down the descent of Beth Horon, heading for their safety of the cities and the Shephelah. The Israelites, with divine assistance, hailstones on a prolonged day, defeated these armies, and the kings themselves were executed at Mecheda. What began as a rescue mission ended with the conquest of southern Canaan, the second major campaign led by Joshua. The final phase of the conquest of Canaan, the northern campaign, which we see right here, occurred when Jabin, the king of Hazor, put together a coalition that included the kings of Madan, Shimron, Achshaph. These kings encamped at the waters of Merom. The Israelite attack was successful, and as the defeated kings retreated, the Israelites pursued them to the Sidon region. Jabin's city, Hazor, was burned. The Israelites did not follow up their victory by establishing a settlement at Hazor, for archaeology shows that the Canaanites reoccupied the city and lived there until its conquest by Deborah and Barak around 1200 BCE. So what I just read from you comes from the following chapters, right? But nonetheless, as you're reading it, you need to visually see this on a map, so it becomes a reality not only to the author writing it, but to the recipient receiving it. And if you lived during those times, you would know where those cities were at, just like I know where New York City is at. I know where Los Angeles is at. I know where Chicago is at. I know it's Houston, and those people wouldn't know what those cities are at, but I would. And they was reading something about those cities. They don't know nothing about the culture of those cities. They don't know nothing about the origin of those cities, why those particular regions were selected to be settled in the first place. Okay. What the customs, mannerisms, and dialect of those regions are. And if I go there speaking English in one particular dialect and they don't speak that dialect, they know that I'm a foreigner, that I'm an outsider. If I'm wearing some clothes with my swag from New York and Houston, they're going to know, yo, this dude is from New York. He's not from Houston. He don't dress like us. He don't talk. His swag ain't like us, right? But if somebody's reading this, they say, oh, but they're all in America. They're all in the same country. I don't understand what the difference is. Why is there an issue? Because you're not part of the culture. Of course you wouldn't know. It's like having gangs. These same people are in poverty-stricken neighborhoods that they all live in. They don't own none of the property there. They don't own none of the mineral rights there. They don't have any what we call loyal titles to that region, right? They didn't build none of the property there that they live in, but yet they're warring. Why are they fighting each other? Why are they killing each other? Why are they not overthrowing the oppressors? If they got all these guns, ammo, and warfare, why they not take this and go against the occupants that are oppressing them and put them in that condition? If they were reading a story about, they would understand it, but they don't live here, so they don't see the oppression. And the oppression is not all visible. See, if you're not entrenched in the culture at that time period, you're not going to know why certain things are happening. So this is why you need as many tools as possible to get as much insight as possible so you can thoroughly understand, oh, I know why they went here. I know why they went there. All right. First example of a first tool. Let's go into another tool, okay? Let me show you on the screen first, and we're going to jump to it. Here's the next one right here. The Illustrated Guide to Bible Customs and Curiosities, right? One of 750 entries on what they did and why they did it by George W. Knight. Okay? I also scanned that for y'all, and I'm going to show you something in there, okay, called an idiom. What? Not sure. It said a lot of the story. So when you say a lot, give me a frequency. Give me a percentage. What percentage, and an accurate one, what percentage of the stories in the Bible are just allegorical? And even the lineage was made up. So if the lineage is made up, give me your case for that, cite sources, and give me the percentage of stories that are allegorical. If you can provide that data king element, that would be very helpful. I just want to let you know that you entered into a chat where people are equally as knowledgeable as the speaker on the screen. You can't just make an assertion and think people are going to accept it simply because you said it. You must verify internally, validate externally any open assertions you make so that without a reasonable doubt, we have sufficient substantiation of said assertion that we can transition it to a claim. Can you please provide that insight? And then we will entertain what you're sharing. Okay, it's no issue. It's just if you're gonna throw it out there, I think it's interesting. I've heard it a million times before. I just want you to back up what you're saying, because the same methodology and techniques that I'm utilizing to peruse through from point A to point Z, right? Starting with the problem question, ending with a thesis, right? That we then take into a proposition that we then provide for somebody to receive peer review and then bring back with the critique so we can fine tune those areas. So now we can found that on something that is solid. And then now we can take that into the publishing realm. I just need you to please be equally as surgical with all of that information that you said right there in that assertion. So that way we have the tools to verify and validate what's being said so we can ride with you. Can you please provide that? That's all I'm asking. Because if I don't ask it, they're certainly going to ask it. So I've seen it on the screen. Please provide that. And as you're providing that, I'm definitely going to go back into what it was we sharing, my brother. All right. Please don't go nowhere. Please share that information. Okay. So let's move into the next source. I'm going to share it on the screen right now. Give me 1 second. I'm just giving you some insight why these tools are important. Okay. All right. So right here, this is on page 70 of that book I just showed you. And this says, feet on the necks of enemies. Just read on the left. When the Israelite warriors brought out those kings unto Joshua, Joshua said unto the captains or commanders of the men of war, come near, put your feet upon the necks of these kings. Joshua chapter 10, verse 24. Joshua directed that this action be taken against the 5 Amorite kings whom his military forces had defeated. Amorite kings is important. You know why? Because in the book of Bereshit, when the patron deity spoke to Abram, he told him that his descendants is going to be as the sand of the sea, but they're going to settle this land, but they can't take it until the sin of the Amorites is full. Excuse me for that. A little under the weather, but I'm okay. All right. If you didn't already notice, but I'll be okay. Right. So what does that mean? That is very, very particular. It has a meaning, right? What does that mean? So when you hear things like that, right? How do you interpret that? If you go back and read the rest of the narrative, you'll get additional context. Sometimes you may not get it immediately. That's why I got to keep reading, right? Nonetheless, when he says your feet upon the necks of these kings, what does that mean? Well, this tool will help you get some insight into that, okay? All right. I just want to see if King Element is there. King Element, are you still there with us? Is he still there? Just want to know his percentage on that and his verification validation on his assertion. Show us the okay, cool. All right, so he says, "Oh man, King Element, you just pulled something out of the conscious community trick hat." Okay, brother. All right. So let's deal with that. Okay. I didn't really, you know what? Let me finish this and I'm going to deal with that. Let me finish this and I'm going to deal with that. Okay. All right. So let's read. Joshua directed that this action be taken against the 5 Amorite kings whom his military forces had defeated. Joshua chapter 10, verses 5 to 10. Putting one's foot on the neck of an enemy was not an act of hostility or violence, but a symbolic action that showed total subjection. There was no doubt that these kings and their people were now under Israel's control. Okay? So, we just went through 2 sources, right? Let me close this down. I got 2 more, and then we're gonna address that assertion right there. I don't even know if it's assertion. I just think it's a opinion, right? But nonetheless, right? All right. So we use these 2 tools, and again, the top 10. These are on the top 10, and you must have these in your life. If you don't have these in your library, go to Amazon, buy them right now. Go to Amazon, buy them right now. Okay. All right, let's get into our third source. Third source is this right here, Concise Hebrew and Aramaic Lexicon of the Old Testament by William L. Holliday. Okay, this is it, right? This is what's called the Halot, the Hebrew and Aramaic Lexicon of the Old Testament, right? Now, let me bring up a page on that. Okay, let me show you on the screen. Okay. Now, this is page 211, and I pulled it up for a reason because there was a particular word in the passage that I showed you, right? So let me show you how to use this tool real quick, right? I'm going to give you the cheat code, right? Before I even get into it, I'm going to give you the cheat code. Let's bring that passage up, right? With the word that we're looking up. And if you didn't recognize, we're in the mem entries, right? Which is the equivalent to M in English, right? Let me show you this real quick. Let me give you the cheat code. So let's say you're reading this, right? Let's start at verse 29, right? Matter of fact, let's go up further than that because I want to show you something, right? Let's go to verse 16. Watch how ill this is, right? That I'm sure most of y'all, 90% of y'all overlooked, except for those who are really, got the tools or whatever insight. Verse 16. These 5 kings fled and hid themselves in the cave at, you see this? So if you want to look this up, for real, right? I want to show you something interesting, right? You click on 16, right here, the superscript 16, right? And then at the top, you click this interlin, right? For those who are not familiar with the language, it helps to parse out the language for you. It gives you the Strong's key concordance at the top. Strong's key, they say it's concordance, but it's actually a lexicon at the top. They give you the transliteration. They give you the Hebrew word. They give you the direct translation of that Hebrew word. And then they give you the grammar of that particular constituent in the clause. This is a clause by itself, separated by this marker here. Here's the second clause. And then you have this divided here that lets you know that this is an independent clause on its own. So when you go into this, we're going to look up this word here. So you can follow it, at least in the English, if you don't know the Hebrew or anything else. Follow in the English, right? But it says, but they had fled. How do we know it's they? Because we see the suffix u, which means they. They had fled. Who? The 5 kings, kings 5, right? 5 kings, right? These, and hid themselves in a cave at be. This is your inseparable preposition bet, right? With your dagesh in the middle, right? Then you have macheda, right? What does this mean? That is a place name. Why is that region called Makeda? Why did they give it that name? Well, here's your cheat code. You click on 4719. You get a blowout with more information, right? It gives you the original word, part of speech, right? Proper name, location, transliteration, phonetics with a Makeda, right? Definition, a place in Judah, right? Of unknown derivation, they says, and it goes down and says a proper name for location in Judah, Joshua 15:41, Joshua 10:10, Joshua 10:29. Where was a cave? Joshua 10:16, etc., etc. So looking at the NAS exhaustive concordance, they said is of unknown derivation, right? They don't know where it derived from. And I'm going to show you how that's not the truth, right? Maybe they don't know, but I'm going to show you how you can figure it out. It's not that deep, right? I'll show you how you can figure it out, right? This is why, again, understand the geographical features of a region is important because you'll know why it was called that. I'm going to show you why it was called that, right? You see the resource that I pulled up and I showed y'all right here? See this resource? I'm going to go back into that page. I'm going to show you something, right? Here it is. All this fun stuff we're going to do at a much slower pace, without the interruptions when we do the classes. I get deeper than this. But I'm trying to give you all the resources. And again, you got to get the top 10 from the Patreon. If you know what that is, sign up for the Patreon. Check it out, right? So here it is. We're on page 211. And when I said the cheat code, when you want to look into a real lexicon, you can't look words up in English. You got to look them up in Hebrew and or Aramaic, okay? How do you do that? Well, in the cheat code that I gave you, it spelled it out, right? It spelled it out in the Hebrew. You have the Hebrew rendering there. Matter of fact, let me go back and show you real quick. So you can see, make sure you're following me, right? Here's the Hebrew rendering. Mem, you have Kuf, you have Dalet, you have Hey, right? Here's the Hebrew reference. So you got to look it up in the lexicon using M, but they put K, because there is a dagesh in the middle of this Kuf, which means you double this phonetic sound. And then you have your Dalet with your chametz underneath and your final Hey. Final Hey would make it a feminine noun. Typically, most place names are feminine nouns. Some of them aren't, but a lot of them are. But in this case, it is. So you would try to look this up, right? So you go to the lexicon and you attempt to look that up, you're going to find something very, very interesting, right? I went over this before, but we're going to give y'all some good background, right? And you scroll up. You say, okay. You says M Kuf K. Okay, let's see the rest. Let me go scroll down. M-A-K. Oh, it's right here, right? And they say it's just the name of a location, right? That doesn't tell you anything or give you really any information. But if you go right above it, look at this. Right above it, right? If you go right above it, it gives you more closer to the cognate root, right? Here's your mem kuf beit, your final tav, right? Or your tav, right? Then you have your mem kuf beit wav with the holam tav, right? Look at this. Excavation. Machebet bor. Mouth of a cistern or a quarrying site. Isaiah 51:1. Instrument for driving nail or peg, small hammer, small work hammer, opposite of a blacksmith's hammer or war club. 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 7. So now the entry following right up is here. Your makeda. So, mouth of a cistern. Then you have to go and look up what a cistern is, right? Let me help you. What is a cistern? Why is a cistern so important, right? Matter of fact, I don't even know. I don't even have to. I'm going to use this. We're going to use resources that we got on here. Okay, this is another one of these tools that you got to get. I don't think I have it in the top 10. Should have put it on the top 10. It's not on the top 10. Let me show you something in here, right? Let me find it in here real quick for y'all. See that word cistern right there, right next to well, in between well and pool, right there. Okay, this is 3:9, chapter 3, entry 9. See that? The cistern was a pit hollowed out of solid rock for the purpose of storing water. Cisterns could be 6 meters, 20 feet across, and 6 meters, 20 feet deep, or even larger. In earliest times, they were hewn out of rock that did not allow water to seep through. So some of these were natural, some of these were man-made. This is why you see digging. Remember you saw digging? Excavation. Remember you saw that? A cistern, right? Let you know that that site that's being mentioned, the reason why it's called that is because it is home to a cistern that's been hewn out of solid rock so that it can capture water that seeps through the rock. With the discovery how to make plaster, cisterns could be dug in many kinds of rock and then lined with plaster, which sealed any holes or cracks. In the land of Israel, usage, almost all the annual rainfall between the months of November and March. Cisterns served to store excess rainwater or water from springs that dried up in the summer. The stored water could be used during the dry months of the year. Okay? So, when you learn what that place name means by going through cognates of the word, you will discover why the place was named that and how it plays its role in the verse. Well, let's go and read the verse again. Let's read the verse again so you can see how fascinating this is, right? Watch this. Pull it up on the screen again. I'm about to close out. All right. Joshua chapter 10, verse 16. Now the 5 kings have fled and hidden in the cave at Makeda. It lets you know that Makeda was called that name because it is a place that has a cistern that was hewn out of solid rock that was used to capture rainwater, and then A future time was plastered to seal any holes, like a caulk, to seal any holes so that water would not seep out, that would stay there and capture the rainwater from November to March, so that in the later days when there's light rainfall, you have a storage pit of water that you can seep from. Now, you also have pools, springs, and wells. That's different. But here, we know that the kings hid here and that there was a cave there at Makeda. That's why it was named that. This is where they hid in. So when they went into this man-made hewn solid rock that was used to capture and store rainwater that seeped through the porous rocks that was in that region, and that was plastered to seal the water in, that's where they hid in. And then they took a huge rock and put it over the mouth of that cistern and locked them boys in there, because those kings left their people, left their army, and went to go hide so that they wouldn't be captured. Fascinating. But it gives more depth to the story once you understand that. And now, if you go to the site of Makeda today, guess what you'll find there? A cistern. Right? Okay. Okay. All right. You transverse those together. All right. All right. So let's give you the last resource. It's actually a couple of these resources, but I want to give you another resource. Okay, so you can understand, right? Let me share this with you real quick. Here's this book here. It's called Warfare in the Ancient Near East to 1600 BC, Holy Warriors at the Dawn of History by William J. Hamlin, right? Right? It goes into the early dynastic Mesopotamia, the Akkadian Empire, the Neo-Syrian period, war carts and chariots, Middle Bronze Mesopotamia, warfare in the age of Mesopotamia, siegecraft, Syria and Lebanon, Canaan, Anatolia, pre-dynastic and early dynastic Egypt, Old Kingdom Egypt, warfare during the Old Kingdom, First Intermediate Period Egypt, Middle Kingdom Egypt, the military system of the Middle Period, and early Second Intermediate Period Egypt. Another book is called War, Memory, and National Identity in the Hebrew Bible. Right? And this goes over various sources that deal with war and memory, right? In Israel. When you see odes or when you see songs that are written or hymns that are written in regards to victories after battle, and for the record, women were the ones that led those processions. Just for the record, they were the leaders in that procession, right? We see that with Miriam. We see that with Deborah. Women led those processions as part of the culture, right? So women did lead in various aspects of society. So this is to the male chauvinist, the misogynist out there who's trying to suppress and oppress women and not allow them to lead in certain areas that was naturally grafted for them to lead in. You got to stop suppressing those sisters. If there's a victory, you let them lead in the songs and hymns and so forth. That's their job, right? That's cultural. That's something that's been going on before you got here. So allow it to continue to flourish and evolve, so that way we can be in our rightful position. So when Yah sees us, he can receive us. Got it? Good. All right. So this goes into stuff because it gives you some insight in how social memories develop out of acts of war and how that then becomes transcribed into history, right? Which is important for a particular ethno group that's going through the process of ethnogenesis, where you have the beginning of a particular group of people that is carving a niche out for themselves culturally to make themselves separate and distinct from their neighbors, okay? So as they're going through that, war is one of those defining elements that allows a particular group of people to obtain or establish their ethnicity amongst other neighboring groups. Doesn't matter if they share the same quote-unquote haplogroups. You still have various cultures and different peoples even amongst the same haplogroups. That's very important, okay? All right. Here's another one final book. And the reason why I'm showing you these books on war, I'm not going to get into this because I just pulled it up out the blue, is because remember the attack that he told them to do on the rear, like in the back? Well, you got to understand how that is accomplished. What does that mean? What is going on in warfare that they are doing that, and how successful it is, etc. So there's several resources on that. Again, that falls under the in the top 10, number 10. That falls under number 10. Just like this UBS technical helps book that I just read from, the entry for cistern, that falls under number 10 of the top 10. You have these other three, which is a lexicon, which is a cultural studies guide, which is a atlas, and the initial book that I read from, right, was the Cultural Background Study Bible. All of these is in the top 10, right? But you still got 5 more great resources that y'all actually need. And if you get all 10 of these resources, I'm telling you, the type of studies that I do and I share that information with you, you can do the same for yourself. See, we teach different here. We don't teach people to forever be students. We teach people to be able to teach their teachers. Some teachers may be mad at that, but it is what it is. All right. So now that that's done, let me address this final claim because I hear it a lot. Okay. Y'all want to know where this comes from? Let me see if I can pull up the video. I might not play it because, you know, YouTube got me in the corner right now. They got me on timeout right now. Okay. So I'm not going to keep doing all this crazy stuff until we establish what we're trying to establish. And then we can say, okay, YouTube, do what you got to do. But I want to show you where this comes from. Right. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me show you where this comes from. Okay. Let me show where this foolery comes from. All right. Where he probably doesn't even realize where it came from. But I'm gonna show you how it entered into the so-called conscious community. We reveal all here. This is not new. This is light work, man. Let me show you. Let me show you, family. Let me show you. And again, I don't think this person is being malicious, vile, disrespectful, challenging. I just think that is their conviction and they're sharing it. But it must be challenged because I don't know if King Element, are you still there? Let me know if you're still there, King Element. Hold on. Let me see if he's there. If he's there, what I'm going to do, let me drop the link. If he responds, great. If he doesn't, I'm just going to close out with that. Here's your link. Click the link. King Element, if you're there, click the link. All right. I'm going to show you where it comes from. How it entered the conscious community. Right? Let me show it to y'all. Here's the video. You may know this person by the name of Ray Hagen. Oh, man, this is funny. I don't even know if I could play this. I hope I don't get struck for this, man. But it was a God. Matter of fact, let me share this link with y'all, just in case. I'm just going to share the link with y'all so y'all can check it out yourself. All right. There's the link right there. Okay, that's the link right there. You can see this came from Ray Hagen. King Element, are you there? Yeah. Oh, him is right, Learn Ya. That's exactly where it came from. Fair use, Alcom Barlow. I agree. All right. And Alicia, yeah, that's what they did. they abandoned them. Their own people, man. They was like, oh, no, we're not going to get caught. That's how much hubris these kings had. How much value that they valued themselves and how much they devalue their soldiers and their people that they just left them. All right, so Feast of Dedication has merit. I don't subscribe to it in regards to celebration because it's not, I'm not obliged by Torah to do so, right? But if other people want to subscribe to it, that's fine. I have no problem with that. King Element, are you there? I'm going to post the link again for King Element. King Element, let me know if you're there. I'm going to share the link again so you can join in. Here's the link again. give you about another 60 seconds. Seth, yes, it can. It definitely can. Things have to be taken within the perspective of the subject matter at hand. And different perspective can yield different results, right? Different cultures see other cultures differently than the culture sees themselves, right? Get wise. My condolences, my brother. I'm so sorry to hear that. I will definitely keep you in my prayers, and I hope everybody here will do that same as well. So, brother, I talked about this in a previous live stream. So just type Kingdom Harbinger Ministries afterlife, and something should come up. Okay. Yo, Aiden, I like that. Yo, King Element, he went into that cistern, man. So if he don't come, if he gonna stay there, we're just gonna move the rock over him. And what we're gonna do is put our foot on the neck of this particular assertion. Okay. No problem, Get Wise. Anytime, my brother. You have my support if you need it. So being that he is not clicking the link and he has disappeared, and I asked him, do not leave. And mods, I hope none of y'all blocked him. Okay. And if he's blocked, he can still click the link. Since he is not here anymore, okay. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna move the rock over him. Gonna roll that rock over the mouth of the cave. We're gonna leave him in there and put our feet on the necks of this particular assertion. Okay. Now, this is so incredibly defeat it. So let me say, right? Let me show you this. Let me show you this, right? Let me show you this. Let me show you this. Let me pull this up real quick. All right. I want to show you this real quick. Hold on real quick. I'm going to bring this up. Try to see this real quick. Show you what just happened here. If I could get it to load up. Come on, come on. Can't get it to come up. Okay, well, I was going to show you from a chart that I have several charts of logical fallacies, and I'm going to show you that logical fallacy that was created there. But let's get into the claim, all right? Let's get into the claim. Let me jump into the claim. Let's go to Galatians chapter 2. You see, Galatians chapter 4. You see the title of this video, the Bible verse you are not supposed to know about. Galatians 4:22 and 24. What? Who makes this stuff up? What you mean the Bible verse you're not supposed to know about? Churches teach that all the time. Let's go into this. Let's go into this, man. This is the most ridiculous thing. One of the most ridiculous claims I hear people make. Okay, this is crazy, man. The only way this will work is if you believe that the Bible is a monolithic text in the sense that it was written by one author at one period of time. That is not the case. They say, well, God authored it, right? So you must not understand how things work. But nonetheless, let's go to Galatians chapter 4. I'll read verse 21. Since this is so secret, oh my God, you're not supposed to get into this. What are you doing? Fine. Why are you? What? Let's read. Tell me, you who desire to be under the law, do you not listen to the law? For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, one by a slave woman and one by a free woman. But the son of the slave was born according to the flesh, while the son of the free woman was born through promise. Now this may be interpreted allegorically. Do you know what may mean? These women are 2 covenants. So when you deal with what we call literary devices, you have one called simile, one called analogy, one called allegory, so if we was looking at this right now, right, you have a particular literary device. I'm gonna see if y'all can figure it out. One, when you make a comparison using like or as. One, when you make a comparison using not using like or as. You have a metaphor and you have a simile. So if we're looking at this, he says the term allegorical. Once he says you may interpret it allegorical, which means he's not undermining the actual narrative. He's not saying that. He's saying it may be interpreted allegorical, meaning that if you want to give some additional insight, to use it symbolically to give you more depth, so that way you can apply it to something that's happening today, you can do that. He's given an allowance to add a deeper level of depth. You call this the sod level, right? In your Pardes model, you have the pshat to your sod level. Then you have the resh level, which is like the rest, which is right here. Your remez level, which is, one is subliminal, one is implied to give more insight, and then one is the deep esoteric, which is the sod level. So you have these what's called the misradic forms of interpretation, right, from pashat to sad, right? And how does that happen is when you're given a leeway to look further into a particular narrative and use things symbolically. This is how information is communicated by secret societies. The so-called Christians at this time were being persecuted. They had to communicate to each other in different ways, so that way it is not found out about from their oppressors. Same thing when slaves were brought here to the Americas. In order for them to do uprisings, they had to do the same thing. They had to communicate in ways so that master didn't know. So he's not undermining the original narrative. He is simply giving you a deeper depth by assigning a literary device to explain a current situation that was going on in Galatia. This is why when you don't understand what the context is or the background, one of the tools that I recommend is a New Testament survey / introduction. If you don't have one of those, you're not going to know what's going on here. You're not going to know where this is at. That's what you need your atness. You're not going to know the condition of people in, because you're not studying the 1st century CE. You're not going to know the different temples that are there. You're not going to know the political entity that is ruling, reigning in that region at the time. You're not going to know the disposition of the people socially, economically, and politically. You're not going to know this stuff. You're not going to know why Paul went there. Why did he go there? For what? What is the context of chapter 4? Is it the undermining of the narratives of the patriarchs? If that's the case, then okay, look, let me show you how this falls on this head on his heels. I'm gonna show you how this falls. We're still waiting for King Element. Oh wait, y'all roll the stone back open that cave back up. Let him back out. I think he might have gone in there. I'm not sure. Let him back out. If Paul mentions Abraham as a historical character anywhere else in his epistles, do you know that this claim right here that you're saying it means that everything's allegorical falls on its face? Let's see if Paul ever mentioned Abraham as if he was a historical character. Let's do that, because the moment he does that, you're finished. Mr. Ray Hagan, who asked to show where the caves and the burials was at of the patriarchs, and I responded to his inquiry that he put out. He had a challenge he put out. I responded to his challenge back in 2015. I still ain't get my check yet, but it's okay. It's okay. No problem, right? So let's go and see if Paul mentions Abraham as if he's a historical character. The moment he does that in anything other than an allegory, you have a problem. Let's see if he does that. This is very easy. I'm going to show you a very easy tool. A very easy tool. Matter of fact, if he's mentioned by anybody in the text as a historical character, now you're in trouble. But we're going to take it for Paul, since he's the one who's the author of Galatia. Okay. So let's go and see if Paul mentions Abraham. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to do that, right? Let's do that. Let's go to I can go all over the place. We go to Romans. Let's go to Romans chapter 4. Let's do Romans chapter 4, right? This is light work, man. Let's do Romans chapter 4. Okay. King Element still there? I don't know. Is my chat frozen? I don't know if my chat's frozen. Is my screen frozen? Y'all still there? Hit 1 if y'all still there. Let me check my phone. Let me see what's going on. I think we're still good. We're still good? All right, cool. All right. Let's go to Romans chapter 4. Okay, Romans chapter 4. Because again, the moment we see Abraham mentioned as if he's let's go to Romans chapter 4. This is light work. This is light work. All right, let's share my screen, man. Let's share my screen. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he don't know better. He heard that within the conscious community circles, and again, the way he was positing, it wasn't like he was an authority over it. He wanted to challenge somebody. He was just putting it out there. But I just want to this is not for him. This is for those people who are tough and they bang on their chest like gorillas and they like, yeah, this, yeah, that. Easily shut down. Romans chapter 4, verse 1. What then shall we say was gained by Abraham, our forefather according to the flesh? Done. Game over. That's it. That's it. That's it. Game over. How can he claim pedigree descent from an individual who is an allegory? The same author now. This is not the different author. This is the same author. I'm gonna give you a moment. I learned the slow cook method. I'm gonna give you a moment. Let this simmer a little bit. Let me drop the link again. Maybe something happened to his computer. Maybe he had to restart or something. Hold on. Let me get that. There we go. Boom. Let's keep going. Listen, I'm only in Romans. I didn't go nowhere else. Verse 2. For if Abraham was justified by works, he has something to boast about, but not before God. But what does the scripture say? Now he's referring to the scripture in regards to Abraham. You don't do this unless you think this person or know this person to be a real person that has lived. How? Why would he do something like this? You know how stupid this would be? Then he will come up in Galatians and say something totally different. This is not contradicting himself. You just don't know how literary devices work. Just say you don't know. That's all. Just say you don't know. It's fine. But the moment that he not only claims that that's his forefather according to the flesh, not according to the allegory, not according to the story, according to the flesh. That's what he says. But then King Element says, oh, the lineages is not true either. Okay, so you undermine the authenticity of the narrative by using the same text to say that the text is not true, by using the same text to say the text itself is not true and that is just an allegory. But yet, that same author that made that statement claims that his forefather is Abraham according to the flesh. And the only way that could be determined is through lineage, that you say the lineage in there is made up as well. But if you're saying that the lineage is made up and he's making up the lineage, and obviously he's also making up the fact that Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, that Sarah and Sarai and Hagar are allegories, then he's making that up too. Then that's not real. Then how can we ascertain truth from anything in this text? You got to throw the whole thing out. But don't use one verse to discredit everything else when you're not reading it in context and not reading the other epistles that this same author has written. Damn, son. Much love to you, though, King Element. Feel free to come on at any time. I'll be extremely cautious in how I handle and discuss with you. I don't want to fight with you. I see you as my brother. Let's talk. Let's build. I just want to let you know, my brother, been around this ringer a million times from people in the conscious community. Maybe you're not familiar with my history in that community, but it goes all the way back to 2013. All you got to do is look up some videos of me online. Just put my name, DivineProspect, in, and you'll see me address similar questions to that one. But also, I have countless audio recently from Clubhouse with people who tried to use that same exact thing. It doesn't work. You cannot use that argument. It doesn't work. Okay. So I'm just saying this to you as a forewarning. Just make your assertions a little bit more sophisticated after you've put them to the ringer of verification, internal authentication, and validation, external authentication. So that way you have a two-way authentication factor in order for you to bring those two elements together to make a supposed assertion, a substantiated fact, and or a substantiated claim. If you have not done your due diligence to read at least just the context of that particular epistle and the other epistles by the same author, to see if does the author himself claim that this is a real person. If he does, you cannot use that argument. That's all. All right. With that being said, family, I'm going to go tend to myself, cleanse myself out, have myself relax so I can recover. I thank you for your time on this evening. It was precious and it was beautiful at the same time. Appreciate y'all letting me speak on my soapbox for a little bit and then transitioning into scripture, giving you some tools, some resources, some insights on how you can get more depth into researching the text yourself. And we got to end it off on an apologetic note, getting to respond after confronting a particular assertion on our particular subscription. We don't run from nothing here. We run towards it. So if you make a particular assertion and you come to this channel, either I will address it or somebody in chat will address it, because the way we learn here is not your typical religious whatever you encountered before and ran that game on and say, oh, look, I won. This is not the place for that. Okay. We bully the bullies here. Can't come in here and be a bully. Not saying you was King. I'm just saying in general. You can't come in here and be a troll, because you're going to get trolled by real trolls, because I troll responsibly. You can't come here and bully, because I will bully you responsibly. And you can't come in here and think you can outwit us to deceive us, to pull us away from the covenant that we've already established, from the identity that we've already proclaimed, from this foundation that we already stand flat-footed on. It's not going to work. That's why the depth of our studies, brother, you think that we invest in all of this. You think we invest in all of this? Hold on. Let me put this down. All right. You think we invest in all of this? Hold on. You think we invest in all of this? See this, brother? I just want to make sure he sees. I don't know if he's looking. All right, hold on. Oh, shit. All right. You think me invest in all of this? All right. Just to not know that Galatians 4, chapter 22 to what was that, 24, that we don't know that exists in that text. Ray Hagan, did you really think that? This is 2022, bro. This ain't back when you did that in the early 2000s. It's 2022. You don't even need a book to get to that. So look, I just want people to know, all right? I just want people to know. Asantu, I'm not sure what you're referring to. So I forgot to say this in the beginning. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna wrap up, right? Thank you to all the KHM members that came to our KHM meeting this past week. Also, we sent out e-cards to all of our KHM members. If you are a patron of our Patreon, you will also receive an insightful thank you thank you card, an e-card. Gift cards, I actually said it, put the cart before the horse, but that's something that we'll be sending out frequently as well, gift cards and other memorabilia to our KHM members and our Patreon patrons. So I'll make sure that you guys can receive that. So again, I wasn't supposed to say that. It's just kind of a Freudian slip. It was on my mind, came out anyway, but y'all should receive an e-card. And if you are a KHM member and you missed the meeting, don't fret. We can get the recording out to you. Just send us an email at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. And we'll make sure we get the video out to you so you can check it out. Okay. Excuse me. So, Sister Santua, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you can message me real quick about it before I close out. So with that being said, we don't take our time to teach people this methodology, these techniques, these tools, the resources. I mean, you jumped in. Oh, yeah. I did that already, Sister Santua. Yeah, I did that. I did that at the beginning of the show. I did that at the beginning of the show. I know what you're talking about right now. I did that at the beginning of the show. I appreciate that. All right. We don't take time here. Oh, let me make sure y'all can see me. Hold on. We don't take time to teach methodology, right? Teach sources, how to vet sources, right? How to establish claims, etc. We don't take time to teach that here. Now, again, I don't know where else you've been. I don't know where you've been in these YouTube streets. But here, we take our time to teach our people how to respond to these claims. But before they respond to it, excuse me, they have to be able to know their truth. If they can establish their truth and they can make propositions from their truth and they can establish a thesis based on their position, and they can definitely take this and with confidence, not arrogance, be able to delineate it to somebody who is foreign to their particular disposition and do so in a way to provide understanding, then they can give you the wisdom to say, hey, since you tried that and didn't work, why don't you go and refine this here, tighten this up over there, and go back and try that? Because you can't come here and just make a wild opinion or assertion thinking it's people going to accept it. It don't work here. If you do that, then you're actually hoping that people are religious minded here. You got the wrong YouTube channel. This is the wrong YouTube channel, brother. You got to go back and look at 8.5 years worth of content that I placed on YouTube. That's not how we get down here. We don't invest in this material and in this time to study just to fall victim to a Galatians chapter 4:22. I got you. No, doesn't work like that. All right. So with that being said, thank you, family, for your time. I appreciate it. We ended on a good note, on good time. Let me go and recoup. I appreciate you for your time. I'm going to keep you on my prayers. If you need anything from us, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Excuse me. If you want to support, sign up for the Patreon, www.patreon.com/DivineProspect. All the other details will be in the description below. If you need any of our services, our programs to assist you, help you alleviate those societal ills, those details will be in the description box here. And if not, it will be in our previous video's description box. And if you want to patronize us in any other way, we have the means on the channel right down in the description box. Okay. If you want to email us, you want to set up a one-on-one appointment, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. or click the link in the description below. All right. Let me put these books back up here. Man, these things are heavy, man. I don't even know how much they weigh. I just know that they're extremely heavy. All right. And we encourage people to read. I don't know if you ever see my Patreon. Patreon, we got almost 400 books up there. I mean, you can't deceive somebody that takes their time to read and study and research. It's like read, study, and research. It's not going to work, right? So hopefully King Element learned the lesson. And that lesson is, brother, we love you. Thank you for putting that out there. But brother, we're going to question that. Like, it's not, you can't just say it and run away. You promised you would stay, but you left. I don't know why, but we love you anyway. Keep you in my prayers. If you need anything from us, email us, King Element, and we got you, brother. All right. All right, family. Love y'all. See you next time. Peace. Shalom. Keep your brother in prayer. All right. Shalom.